We're talking rookie running backs. We're talking rookie wide receivers. We're talking everything 2023 rookie related, taking your phone calls, projecting landing spots, talking about potential complications. What about trades? What doors get closed? What doors get open based on certain players, certain teams doing certain things, going certain places. Ron Navy first in the building. File on in. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
We are talking rookies, everything rookie related right now. Dial into the show if you would like to discuss anything, but we're going to start kicking it off with a little bit of just pure NFL draft rumors, speculation, and guesswork as it relates to some of these big offensive players. And I'm going to start off with number one overall, the number one overall draft pick, which will be the number one overall quarterback. And it's going to be Bryce Young. It's going to be Bryce Young, and I'm here to say I'm going to do a Bryce Young video. I'm going to do I'll probably do an all-encompassing tight end video, maybe a couple quarterback videos, and maybe an all-encompassing quarterback video. I do need to do a video on Sean Tucker still. I need to do a video on JSN. I need to do one on potentially Zay Flowers. I don't know if I'll have time because, what is today, Tuesday? I might be able to crank out a bunch of short little videos like we've done the Bijan video, like we've done the Jahmyr Gibbs video. If you haven't seen that Jahmyr Gibbs video, go check it out. That bad boy is up and ready for your viewing pleasure. And Jahmyr Gibbs, Charbonnet, I'm getting some comments from people. Smitty, you like all three of these guys in the top 10. Yeah, go watch the video, Bob. Go watch the video, Worried William. Why do I like three running backs that are in this rookie running back class inside my top 10 dynasty running backs, maybe my top 10 to 12 redraft running backs? Because they're ballers. Because the changing of the guard at the running back position is real. The changing of the guard is happening across all positions, and it's like a perfect storm in a sense. That we never really, in my recollection of 20 years of fantasy football coverage from a professional perspective, your boy's a dinosaur in this industry. I've never once felt like there's been a wave of changing of the guard across all positions. Usually it's like one position gets younger, another position's older. It's like across the board. Does anybody feel like that is not the case? We have except for the tight end position, which is in motion to be next because this incoming tight end class is thought to be the most talented incoming tight end class in, a long time, if not ever. So that's happening next year. We're going to be talking about that, even though it's kind of in motion here. The QBs are already swapped out. The QBs are already swapped out. We've got Mahomes. We've got Justin Herbert, coming up again. Hopefully they make some moves, the Chargers, and put this guy back in positioning to be argued in the top 5. But right now he's not. But you got Mahomes, you got Hurts, you got Josh Allen, you got Joseph Cigar Smoking Burrow, you got Justin Fields, you got Trevor Lawrence. That's 6 quarterbacks. All are young monsters. The changing of the guard cleaned house. There's no older quarterbacks in the top 6 anymore. They're all young monsters. The wide receivers, my system's having issues, so I'm trying to load some of the things we've got here because I can't load everything yet. This is the old Moon Men list, I think.
The Moon Men.
No, that's the good one.
In outer space.
That's the new Moon Men.
Space Moon says.
So this entire sophomore wide receiver class, Olave, Pickens, Watson, London, Wilson. There's 5 guys I just named. 5 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That consume my top 10 wide receivers for the future. And JSN entering the equation, maybe Zay Flowers, potentially. This is crazy. That we literally, between the sophomores and the incoming rookie class, have potentially 6 or 7 players that are inside the top 12 wide receivers. Changing of the guard. It's constant. So now we got the running backs getting cleaned house, right? Now we're cleaning house with the RBs, changing of the guard. Walker, Breece Hall. Who's next? Who's the next running back on your dynasty running back rankings? If we want to really cipher through all this, it's Breece Hall, Walker, Breece Hall. Those are the guys that are currently in the NFL. Bijan, my number 1 running back, maybe your number 1 running back in dynasty redraft. He's going to be my number 1 running back coming out of 2023, and he's a quiet dark horse, if you want to even call it that anymore, to finish as the number 1 overall running back in 2023 out of all running backs, out of Christian McCaffrey, out of Walker. Bijan's my number 1. At the end of the day, I'm not drafting him 1. I'm not a complete moron. I'm drafting him where I can get away with it. But Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, Smitty, you just like all rookies. I don't, because Blake Corum was supposed to come out, and I told everyone I don't like him at all. Blake Corum reminds me of Spiller in a Chargers situation where he comes in and people think Spiller's going to all of a sudden take carries away from Austin Eckler. Spiller was garbage. Corum is not these guys. These guys are way above Corum. Blake Corum is not the guy. He's not that guy, pal. Zach Evans is not that guy, pal. I don't just love all rookies. I don't love all rookie running backs. I choose specifically guys I feel are going to be the changing of the guard players at play. And Charbonnet was my number 2-3 last year, and then he decided to go back to college, and I shed a tear. I shed a tear. You may not have. You may have. I don't know how much you were into my rookie content last year, but Zach Charbonnet was my 2 or 3 running back. He decided to go back to school. I was upset. A lot of people didn't know who he was. We walked into January by default, de facto number 2 or 3 running back on my list. And everyone's like, hey, yeah, Charbonnet's okay. He's okay. We really like Zach Evans. Zach Evans could be the number 1 running back. Blake Corum could be the number 1 running back. So I don't really want to hear anybody say, oh, Smitty, you just attach yourself to all these rookie running backs and you're just going to throw darts at the wall. No, there was a very strategic plan in place. And if you've been here from the beginning, you've noticed I haven't wavered. It's Bijan. Everyone loves Bijan, but no one really loves Bijan like your boy does. And now everyone's inching closer and closer to it. Remember my top 5, top 6 overall player, Bijan? Yeah, it's a little too old, little too bold, Smitty. Too bold, Smitty. Now he's got a 5 or 6, 7, 8 ADP in the making. As soon as his landing spot is handed to him, he's a real player. He's a real person. Game over. Game over. He's now a top 5 or 6 redraft player, and everyone's going to have to get used to it. So, yeah, I'm trying to pop open a nice bottle of Charbonnet, but I'm having so many system problems. I have literally have the best setup known to man. And it's just, there's so many things that go on. I think I got it right here. Get Charbonnet. Get Charbonnet, everybody. Pop open a nice bottle of bubbly.
Get Charbonnet. Pop open a nice bottle of Charbonnet.
Do it live. Do it live. Do it live. And Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, so we're getting Bijan. We're getting Charbonnet. Let's do the Bijan little song and dance.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring. You've got Bijan, you've got Charbonnet, and you're asking yourself, Smitty, this is not fair. You have a Bijan little video, nice little animation. You got a nice little Charbonnet. Where's Jahmyr Gibbs' love? Where's Jahmyr Gibbs' love? Well, we've got one for you. We've got one, and this is not the last, but here we go. Here we go. This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, he looks better than Kamara looked coming out of college, more prepared to become Kamara. Schmitty, did you just say Gibbs was more prepared to become Kamara than Alvin Kamara was prepared to become Kamara? Get Jameered. Get Jameered. We're getting Jameered. We're getting Bijan. We're getting Charbonnet. We're headed to the moon. And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. No negotiation. The changing of the guard of the RBs is here. And you're looking at two of them. Let me see if I can get Jahmyr Gibbs onto this scene here. How disrespectful of me. Jahmyr, where are you? Jahmyr, please report to the Moonman list, Jahmyr. Where's my Jahmyr Gibbs photo when I need it? Jahmyr, here it is. Jahmyr Gibbs, let's put him in the background here. He deserves to be on this list. So now we're getting Bijan. We're getting Charbonnet. We're getting Jahmyr. And these guys are inside my top 10 running backs. Obviously, Bijan's number one. One of these guys probably top 5 or 6. In addition to Bijan. So what I'm trying to tell you is, out of my top 6 running backs, 2 of them are incoming rookies. 1 additional player is in my top 10. These 3 guys are in my top 10. Maybe my top 8. Chew on that. Breece Hall, Walker, these are all changing of the guard players. And it's going to be very interesting if someone has built a team off of 2022 and 2023 rookie drafts, because you essentially have the best pool of players to consume from. And so rebuilding last year and this year combined, that's a good business to be in. Phone lines are open, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial into the show. Steven, I saw you dialing in. To be quite frank, Steven, don't take this the wrong way, but when I'm in the middle of a rant, the last thing I can do is have you sitting there in my ear going, Smitty, I'm going to interrupt you. Smitty, I'm going to interrupt you. So I kind of have to pick and choose when I allow Steven to come into the conversation. Just being honest, Steven. You like when I'm honest with you. You know, Denny likes it too. I don't know where Denny is. Denny should be dialing in any moment. Steven, the phone line's open. Dial in. Go ahead. Anybody else wants to jump in? We're talking rookies only. I'll let you venture. No, I'm not. It's rookies. It's rookie talk. Today is rookie talk. 2023 rookie only talk. Plain and simple. You know, that's just what we're going to do. We're going to focus on just that. So dial on in. Dial on in. Steven, the phone lines are open. First in the building tonight was Ron Navy, which is, we don't see that every time. It's, Michael KCPA's probably got the crown. I think, who would be number 2 that's in here? I don't know who it would be. I think Michael KCPA is definitely number 1 in the history of the show of being first in the building. Thomas, appreciate you. Random's in here. Belichick yourself. Space Ricky, JCIM, Jeremy W, James, Calvin. Appreciate you all filing in. Gary, Alex, Blind Larry's in the building. And on the phone is a man that has thicker skin than any dinosaur that you could uncover that's in a facility. This guy's skin is about this thick because nothing phases him. You can tell him straight to his face, I'm hanging up on you. Call in tomorrow. He doesn't bat an eye. This guy's an angel, half dinosaur. His name's Steven. Steven, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
How you doing this evening, Smitty?
I'm good, Steven. You getting ready for the NFL draft?
I can't wait, but now I got to file an insurance claim because I've got hail damage all over my car. So.
I'm sorry. You got burrowed.
That's not the reason why I called in.
Mm-hmm. Let's make your day better. Go.
And you said rookies only, but this is not a rookie. Can I talk about somebody that's not a rookie, a second-year guy?
Go ahead. Steven, you've had a bad day. I'm going to give you a pass, but this is a rookie-only show, but you get a pass. You've had a big hailstorm. Let's go ahead and
yes.
I'm going to
Okay. Claremont, Florida. You can take a look at it if you want to. There's plenty of videos there on.
I trust Steven. You don't have to show me visual evidence of your snow damage or hail damage in order to get off topic here. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the second pick in the draft is Houston, Texas. And we all expect that they're either going to take one of the two, C.J. Stroud or whatever. It works out very quickly. Dameon Pierce. I think maybe we may be undervaluing him just a little bit, and nobody's really talking about it. He had 939 yards last year. I think it was, 9 or 10 touchdowns, something like that, maybe more. But it may be a guy that you can get a little bit later that maybe somebody's forgetting about.
Yeah, definitely can't disagree with you. I mean, Pierce was a moon man last year. Pierce was a show favorite. Pierce was a league assist winner. Like, he didn't win you leagues, but he assisted you. He was like a six man. No complaints here about Damian being a big time overlooked sleeper, because you're right. I mean, as good of a season as he had, as exciting as he is, no one's really taken the plunge. Like, he's by default going in a very reasonable range. No argument from me whatsoever. I think the only hesitation that we have in general, I would say, is just a little worry that they know what they have. I think if I'm maybe defining that right, if anybody in the chat says, yeah, that's actually how I'm feeling and I can't really pinpoint it, I feel like that's the best way to describe it. We all are a little unsure, not of him. We're unsure if the Texans truly know what kind of gem they have on their hands. You know, kind of like not knowing how much of a gem you are, Steven. You know, overlooking that.
If he got another, see if he can get involved in the passing game. And from everything that I saw in his college tape, he can catch the ball just fine. They need to utilize him more out of the backfield in the passing game. And if they do that, then maybe we've got something a little bit more. 939 yards basically on the ground, just under 1,000. Add another 400 or 500 yards on top of that, 1,400 yard back, 10 touchdowns. I don't know where he's going, but I'd take him in get him in the 6th, 7th, 5th. I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, well, but you see all the concern all over the screen. This is why everyone's not sure. You know, we got Andy, we got James, both saying similar things in terms of, like, you know, is a running back getting drafted? Is Bijan going to the Texans? Is Charbonnet or Sean Tucker falling so far that they scoop up an RB? That, again, I think I pinpointed it pretty accurately. We don't know that the Texans know what they have. And so that's why we're by default letting him fall into a decent value territory, but not like reaching on him. We just don't know. We don't know. Is Bijan going to be gone by pick number 9 so the Texans aren't even tempted? Will the Titans take Bijan and trade away Henry on draft day? We have no clue. So many things are probably going to unfold that we don't expect to happen. I personally don't think the Texans are going to take Bijan. Doesn't mean they won't. I personally think that they're going wide receiver before they go running back to pair with their young, gunslinger that they're going to draft at 2. And I do believe they will draft a Stroud or a Anthony Richardson, or some say Levis.
And if it's Stroud, why? At 12, if JSN's there, you can pretty much guarantee you that they'll take him.
They should, but I don't think Bijan goes to the Texans. It's just my prediction. Doesn't mean it won't happen. I don't feel like the odds are great for that. I think the odds are better the Bears take him. I think the odds are better the Eagles take him. I mean, the Texans may not even have the opportunity. Like, we may never know if the Texans wanted him. They might let us know after the fact, but Bijan hopefully doesn't make it out of the top 10. I hope that Bijan, for the sake of running backs everywhere, for the sake of this guy's draft capital that will guarantee and lock him into some amazing play, and landing with a team that's got a whole lot of good value here in the Bears, Falcons, and Eagles for as far as landing spots go. I hope for Bijan's sake he goes in these top 3 picks here, or these top 8, 9, 10 picks here. I just don't think Houston's going to take him. Look, Houston knows they're a little bit away, and I think they're probably inching toward the more longevity type grabs here. Like, you take JSN, that's 10 years. You take Stroud, or you take, some say Levis is climbing to 2. I just can't see it. I feel like it's smoke. But if there's a faller in this draft, it's Stroud. I mean, there's a lot of negative buzz going around about Stroud and his potential, he scores that he got on these this testing, this mental capacity where he was reportedly stressed out and not really in a position to take the test. He may have retaken the test and blown the other scores out of the water. There's some people saying he scored like in the 19th percentile on this testing, and then he retook it and smashed it. We don't even know. No one's really given us any updates that I feel good about reporting on. But the consensus is from the doubters out there is that Stroud failed the mental exam part that these players took by a lot. And I don't know. We have to look.
I saw exactly what you saw with that, and I saw a lot of conflicting reports that come out like it was a lie. I'm not sure yet. At this point, but
it was more so. It was more so like it was described as, and there was it was confidential information. So the individual reporting on it said that basically can't confirm or deny this is Stroud I'm talking about, but there was a quarterback that was going through 100,000 different things, very stressed out, very tired, was very, very unable to take said test and took it anyway. And he scored in the 19th percent area. Whereas Bryce Young was 97 or 98. Bryce Young, 97. This guy, Bryce Young, I'm telling you, I haven't even got to it yet. I started to talk about it, then Steven called in and interrupted me. But Bryce Young's going to this number one spot. Bryce Young's going to be a baller. Bryce Young's going to be, I wouldn't be shocked. Again, this QB class is not going to, I think, be transcendent from a big perspective of on a grand scale, like across multiple players, but I believe we do get one top 5 to 8 QB from this QB class, and I believe it's Bryce Young. I like Anthony Richardson a lot, but he's got a lot to prove before I'm going to back him as a top 7 future quarterback in fantasy. I'm excited about it. I'm not calling him a bust. I'm not writing him off. I'm actually very much rooting for him to become the next Jalen Hurts. I really am. I'm excited about Anthony Richardson, but he's a project. He's going to take a little while. Stroud, I haven't been behind Stroud, and this only makes it a little less, makes it more concerning for me. He did reportedly retake this exam and had much better scores, but we don't even know what those scores were. What's much better mean? Is it 70%? Is it 65? Is it 80? This guy, Bryce Young, is thought to be the best processing quarterback to come out of college in a long, long time, which we can confirm with our eyeball test watching his film. We can now confirm it's just gravy. These tests don't necessarily translate. Brett Favre was thought to be not the sharpest tool, in the shed, but look at his quarterback intelligence. So you can't always translate these written tests and these mind games that they play with these quarterbacks to see what their capacity and processing level is. But when you get something like a test like this to support what you already believe and know, it's just gravy. So when Bryce Young steps back and processes football better than anybody I've seen in a while at the quarterback position, really amazing. This guy's the Magic Man. Call him the Magic Man. We need a Bryce Young animation. I'm basically going all in right now in this video on Bryce Young. I'm telling you, I'm so excited about him. Bryce Young processes things like no other quarterback on the field. He's not Kyler Murray. His attitude's great. He's got a great attitude. His work ethic is amazing. Players love him. Coaches love him. Anybody interviews him loves him. His processing speed on the film looks amazing. His scores to back that up are 98, 97%. Like this guy is a walking brain. Yeah, he's short. He's short. I get it. But Kyler proved that that's not the problem. Kyler's attitude and drive is the problem. If Kyler had the attitude, the drive, the support of his teammates, the ability to mingle within the team and motivate them and be their leader, because he's not. He's just there. He's starting to maybe do that with Gannon. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm hopeful, I guess. I'm a Cardinal. I'm in Arizona. I'm a local Cardinal fan. But it's one of those things where Bryce Young fits the bill across the board, and he's the Magic Man. He's got the best name anyway. This is the Magic Man out there creating magic. This guy is going to be amazing. And you know who said this best? It was LaDainian Tomlinson. LaDainian Tomlinson mapped it out very, very well. He said, his size doesn't concern me. It doesn't. This is a different NFL now. This is an NFL where you can't even touch the quarterback. So everybody's saying he won't last at the NFL level. Yeah, he could take some blindside hit. I'm sure there's reasons to think, he could get crushed and beat up. But this is a different NFL, and he has a more likely chance of avoiding all these things people are worried about because of his size, because the NFL protects the quarterback. And so I believe that's a great way to put it. And not to mention, this guy plays in the shotgun. He's got a lot of ability to space himself out and take control of that maybe deficiency. And a lot of scouts have said that Bryce Young's so good at escaping, and he learned this through potentially his deficiency and being a little shorter, that like if you made him taller, he might not be as good of a player. This is the way he is able to navigate, slip through. And if you kind of remember back when Kyler was on a tear, Kyler was in a position of being a top 4 to 5 quarterback. Some even called him like top 3 2 years back. Whereas like Kyler had the fantasy football upside of a top 3 to 5 quarterback. And he was a potential top 3 to 5 NFL quarterback. Then it started unraveling. And now he's injured now. Will never really, maybe he bounces back, maybe he doesn't. But if you can be honest with yourself and put yourself back in time when Kyler was on a tear, Kyler Murray was on the verge of becoming special. And there was no worries or concern about his size. It's all been mental unraveling and attitude. I love Bryce Young. He should go number 1. I kind of want him to go number 2, though, because I love what the Texans are doing. But long-term, coaching staff, Reich, offensive line, I don't love the wide receivers. It's good enough to help develop Bryce Young. But this could be a good long-term spot if you could think longevity here. But I really do think JSN at 12, Bryce Young at 2 would be ideal. I hope the Panthers are... I love him in Carolina, but I love him more in the Texans uniform. I hope the Texans or the Panthers are blowing smoke and they take Stroud. I really do, but Stroud could fall. Stroud could fall to like... This could be one of those things where he falls to 4 or 5. And we thought, no way. 2 months ago, I would have said, no way. He's the most likely to go in the top 2. Now he's falling. This is what happens in the 11th hour. Cam Newton was not a top 1 quarterback, let alone the number 1 overall pick. In the 11th hour, he climbed to number 1. So this happens a lot. Sometimes people are bored, and it's like people are so tired of the same thing, they just gravitate toward the new angle. And sometimes the scouts do that too.
You talk yourself into something.
Yeah, it's like you've plateaued too early, and now you're like, what do I do now? Let's go to Ron Navy real quick. Ron Navy, what's up?
Hey, Smitty.
Yo.
Hey, Steven. I saw that video.
How's it going, man?
Over there, big whiteout. It was like a whiteout of hail. I didn't.
Yeah, it got really interesting for about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was bad. They said there was a lot of hail damage, but yeah, I didn't know you were over there in Central Florida. I'm on the Western Panhandle. So, anyways,
oh sweet,
there's
man.
There's been a lot of talk today, Smitty, on the big channels about Houston not taking a quarterback at 2, about maybe taking Wilson, and I don't know. Kind of makes sense. If they're not confident in Stroud and they already pretty much figure that Young's going to Carolina, maybe they don't take a quarterback at all and they just press on with Mills.
Can you imagine if it goes Bryce Young, no quarterback, and then Colts and Seahawks scoop up, and then the Raiders or the Falcons get Levis. Like that would be a crazy unfolding for sure. I don't know that the Texans don't view one of these guys that isn't Bryce Young as not as I think they'll view him worthy of taking at this 2 pick, but you never know. The NFL draft is so hard to predict because teams are trying to keep it coy. They're trying to throw smoke up in the air, so we're just like swimming in the smoke. I can't imagine they pass on a quarterback. Anthony Richardson might be the pick for them. They haven't talked a lot about him. That could be for a good reason. I personally, if it was up to me, if I was Carolina, I would take Anthony Richardson. I think that's the best fit for that team.
I think he's got that untapped ceiling. He's got a lot of, they're not ready to win anyway, so you can bring him along, mid-season if you wanted to, or you could start him in week 1. I'd start him in week 1. I think all these quarterbacks should go to a place that they can start week 1, and I think they should start week 1 anyway. That's just the way the NFL quarterback now. But he would have a nice little scenario there to build around. And they probably lose. They probably get another high draft pick. What if they had the 1 or the 2 pick? I mean, I guess you could say then they could have got Caleb, but I think the Texans, if I could choose, I want Bryce Young with JSN, or I want Bryce Young with Jordan Addison. I want that so badly. I do. It sounds like Bryce Young's a lock at 1. But then again, guys, remember that Josh McCown comment right after Stroud threw at his pro day. McCown walked right up to him, who's the quarterback coach in Carolina, and said, when you get your house in Carolina, we'll play some horse. And everyone lost it. Oh my God, he just tipped his hand. Did he do that on purpose? Is he lying? Are they throwing smoke out there? That's an awful weird lie to tell a player if you're literally trying to deceive the media. So I don't think he was, but he doesn't have the control. He was probably just trying to motivate him. Like when you're motivating somebody, if anybody's got kids or you've been, you played sports yourself and someone's screaming and yelling in a very motivational fashion, you're running around the track and they're like, go. He was just that was like a slap on the rear end and say, you go get it. You go get it. Go become the number 1, pal. I think that was more what McCown was doing, coaching him up. I don't know that he was tipping his hat. He didn't have control. He didn't know. There's no way he would have known they were taking him at that point. So, but it's just weird. The fact that we thought it was a lock. Stroud was going there. It was a lock. And then I said, and everybody that believes in Young said, just wait. He still gets his day. Let's not draw a conclusion yet. Anthony Richardson still gets his day. So, Bryce Young's the guy, though. Right? I know you like Stroud, Ron Navy, and I get it, but Bryce Young, I believe in him. I believe in him.
Yeah, well, the narrative with the whole Young, first it was Stroud and everybody, then it flipped on a dime, and then all the all the NFL Network and all that, then all started, they all were like, no, it's Young now, it's Young, and they've been pushing Young, and it's kind of the same feeling. Now they were pushing, okay, well, at first Houston was going to take, one of the 2 top quarterbacks second, but now they're pushing, the same feeling is they flipped on a dime. Now they're saying that Houston's going to probably not take a quarterback.
Yeah,
or take Will Levis. They're trying to push Levis up into the top 3.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't believe that. I just in my gut, I don't believe the Texans aren't interested in one of these quarterbacks. I think Anthony Richardson is too exciting. If you were a team, you don't know if you're ever going to get a shot at a quarterback at that level again. Even if you're doubting one of them, like Stroud or Richardson, I feel like if Bryce Young's gone, and he's the one guy I feel like a lot of people don't like anyway. People always just cite his height and weight, and they think he's going to bust. So whatever. You either believe that or you don't. You either believe that or you don't. And if the Texans think they're going to get Caleb and they're going to be in 100% certain spot to get their quarterback next draft, I don't think you can pass on that. I don't think you got Anthony Richardson, who's the most talented QB or player to ever come out of the combine in terms of athleticism. And it's that is a fun, I know you don't just draft based on fun, but that is a fun prospect. And I think he gets no respect in his accuracy. I think everybody just wants to cite players of the past that don't have experience. Look at Trey Lance. He didn't have experience. Do you want that? But that's a completely different scenario where Shanahan didn't even use him, and it had nothing to do with Trey Lance. So for me, if I'm the Texans, there's no way I pass on Richardson. But could they? Sure. But wouldn't you want to trade down? I guess the problem is if the Cardinals and the Texans both don't want a quarterback, all of a sudden the trade value for the picks here no longer exists, because the reason the Cardinals had such good trade power was because all 3 of the top 3 quarterbacks were gold a little while ago, like a month or 2 ago. And so you were getting a piece of gold if you got 3. Now that the Cardinals maybe not taking or definitely not taking a quarterback,
and maybe not trading down. And the Texans maybe not taking a quarterback and maybe not trading down. Colts, Seahawks, I mean, you'd have to literally be one of these teams that say, I'm going to jump up. But even if you did, there's still a shot you still get one of the top 3 quarterbacks, because if these two teams don't take a quarterback, someone can move to 2 or 3 all they want, and the Colts still might get their third quarterback, or the number 1 quarterback on their board. And with Levis going, look, Levis, I think there's a better chance of Levis surprising and going number 2 to the Texans than the Texans not taking a quarterback. I'll say it that way.
I think that would be a huge mistake.
How far could
I like Stroud.
I'm not saying it's a
lot
good
better.
move. I don't believe in Levis like everybody does. I'm just saying there's a greater chance, I believe, the Texans taking Levis at 2 and shocking everybody. And I agree. I don't like Levis at 2. Big mistake. For right now. Could he prove it wrong? Yeah. Could he prove me wrong? Yeah. But it is too early. But I think there's just a greater shot of the Texans going Levis than not taking a QB. But who knows?
they're okay with Mills? What if they want to move forward with Mills? I mean, last year we were big on Mills, and granted, he's had to go through some coaching. What if they like Mills and maybe, you know, this is going to be his third year and they believe in him? Why do they need to take a quarterback?
Because
why not take a player?
Because regardless of what we thought of him, they kind of showed they don't believe in him by removing him from the lineup and not like weathering through it. So you could be right, Ron. Maybe behind closed doors they still loved him and they feel like he wasn't set up properly and they want to give him another shot. But it kind of felt like
different coach.
It kind of felt like though. Yeah, I mean that could be the aspect to this that kicks him back into relevancy. But it did feel like he was damaged goods by the end of the year. Unfortunately, it felt that way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it definitely could swing back around the other direction.
You know, the only good thing he had was Pierce last year. You had Cooks that didn't want to be there, that didn't play a lot of the year, didn't really want to be there, and he was being a baby. And then you had two rookie wide receivers, which one couldn't play last year because he's battling cancer, and so he didn't have a lot of weapons to go to. So now you get him the weapons. You get him the weapons, and you actually can see what he can do because they obviously, you know, I'm sure the new coach come in and, you know, he's seen him play and he's probably pretty good at evaluating the quarterbacks because he was from San Francisco, so he's seen the quarterback, how all that works out and stuff. So maybe he just sticks with Mills and they go defense.
Maybe
they go,
I think it's
they got the most. They're tied, aren't they? Tied for the most picks in this draft.
I think
especially in the top.
I think it's a long shot. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I think you make some valid points, but I think at this point we're not getting it. I mean, it could be a smoke screen, and then that's what they want. But I'm getting zero vibe on that they still believe in Mills. Like I'm not hearing it. I'm not feeling it. I'm not. But it doesn't mean it won't happen. I'm just saying like I think that's a little unlikely at this stage. But man, you don't know. None of us know. This is one of those situations where, you know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, this is going to.
It's a great debate topic. You're right. None of us know. None of us can know. I mean, we're all just speculating, and you know, and yeah, I do like Stroud more. I like Stroud on Carolina more than I like Young on Carolina. Like I said before, and I like Young on like Texans more than I like. But I mean, that's me. That's my opinion. But and those tests that you were talking about, I think, you know, that's kind of like I don't like relying on that crap. If the kid didn't have it in him, he wouldn't be able to play and dissect Georgia's defense like he did. One of the top defenses in the country.
Yeah. Do you play big in big games?
Hey guys, real quickly, hold on one second. Guys, everybody watching the live, is the live interrupted? Is the live still going? Okay, I think it is. There was some sort of like error message I got. I just wanted to make sure.
You're moving. Your head's moving. You're moving.
Okay.
You're looking crazy, just like normal.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I mean, let's real quick. Let's get back onto so. My whole thing was, and Ethan said right here. Ethan says, Gibbs, is this the same Ethan? The same the Ethan the doubter
I'm not sure if this is the same guy. But Ethan, is Gibbs too small? Some teams will say yes. Some teams will say no. Go watch my Gibbs video for a whole breakdown as to why I don't worry about Gibbs at all from a size perspective. Go watch the video for why I believe the news that broke the other day by ESPN that multiple teams, not one, but a handful of teams have Gibbs higher ranked than Bijan, which I don't agree with, Ethan, but it makes me excited because there are teams that feel he is their 3 down back. And that's the one concern is, are there enough teams that are in a position to draft him that aren't worried about 199, which will turn into a 205 running back. He's not too small. He's electric. He's the next Alvin Kamara, in my opinion. And I'm 100% on the Jahmyr Gibbs train. I've obviously made that abundantly clear. But he's in a much stronger position than I think you think in terms of the eyes of other teams. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. That is the concern. And all he needs is a shot. He doesn't need to go somewhere where a team's like, he's a 2 down back or a 3rd down back, a scat back, a change of pace back. The fact that teams love him more than Bijan, again, something I don't agree with, but the fact that teams do love him more than Bijan, a handful of teams, that means, my guy, that he's going high enough in the NFL draft that no team's going to draft him to be a change of pace back. That's what you need. That's what you want. That's what you fear in today's running back climate in the NFL draft, where running backs fall into the 2nd round and you can take a change of pace back there. No one's taking Gibbs in round 1 to make him a change of pace back. So, and as far as holding up at the NFL level, look, we've seen guys his size do it. All he needs is the support of his coaching staff to not hold him back. He's going to be fine. He's going to bulk up. He's super quick. He's going to play a lot of wide receiver in his running back role, the inverse of Deebo Samuel. He will be Alvin Kamara. Like, he won't run for 1,200 yards on the ground. This will be Travis Etienne. I mean, if you believe in Travis Etienne, if you think Etienne's too small, this is very similar. Similar build guy, similar type of player, similar kind of workload on the ground. Etienne, the only problem with Etienne is Etienne's getting no receiving work, and he should. Gibbs and Etienne are the same kind of player, but the Jaguars have yet to deploy Etienne in a receiving fashion that meets my standards at all. Like, not even close. If Etienne, who is so efficient with his runs where he can rip off 10 yards per carry and get the touchdowns and be as effective as he's been, if Etienne gets 5 to 6 receptions a game and they utilize him the way they should in Jacksonville, he's going to be a top 5 lock at running back. So think of Gibbs as a guy that the team that drafts him is going to be way more apt to give him receiving work. So he's Etienne plus some, essentially. Gibbs is better than Etienne, and I love Etienne.
Wait.
It just seems laid out to me. Just go ahead, Ron. Sorry.
No, I just because Etienne's brother plays for Florida, and wait till he gets drafted, and you just can't say Etienne, because now you're going to have 2 of them in the NFL sooner or later.
Travis Etienne.
2
Yeah, Etienne Duch. Etienne 1 and Etienne Duch.
Yeah, you're going to have to differentiate.
The Eagles have 2 picks in the first round, 10 and I'm not sure where the other
30.
one is.
30.
10 and 30. Okay. So why not just go ahead and draft one of these top corners, whether it be Witherspoon or the kid out of Oregon, and then turn around and pick up Gibbs.
We love that.
To add to that backfield, and then they've already been, and then put Derrick Henry back there with him on a free agent deal.
Yep.
And put them in the backfield for Philadelphia and see how it works out.
We talk about that approach all the time. I mean, that's definitely, if they go offense or if they go defensive, whatever, defensive monster, and then they swing back around and take Charbonnet or Gibbs, fantastic. And like I've mapped out here, this is our board where Smitty passes out live on the live stream. If these 3 guys go to one of these locations, I pass out. Live stream moves on. Nobody at the helm. Just a video of me passed out in my chair.
just dreaming away at all the opportunities and the likelihood of all three of these guys being as good as I think they could be. These are the landing spots. These are the landing spots. And what's so beautiful about the Philadelphia Eagles, the Bengals, and the Buffalo Bills in this territory toward the end of the first round is that's right where Charbonnet and Gibbs will probably go. So
I just want to see which one of them has balls enough to draft to pick up Derrick Henry and put him in there.
That's the other thing. I mean, why?
You know, I'm waiting to see, but who's got the balls to go? He wants to be traded. He doesn't want to be there. They want to trade him, and so you know, Buffalo, hilarious. Philadelphia, hilarious. Like you could put him and Gibbs in the backfield, or you can rotate the other two backs that they have in there and run them out
Steven's
to
reading a script from an old show I did.
5 wide. You know, out to wide receiver. Gibbs could run short routes and quick outs and stuff. And I don't know how you'd stop that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, Henry will just bludgeon you in between the tackles, and Philadelphia has a top 3 offensive line.
Yep. I mean, it's that whole incompetence thing, bro.
The fact that they haven't just went ahead and spent the money and went all in. They spent $100 million on A.J. Brown. They gave Hurts some more tools, and you see where it got them. Why not just take it all away? Why are we even having this? This should have been done months ago. It's ridiculous. I could be the GM of these teams.
Yep.
If I see somebody sitting out there like that, like a sledgehammer like him, no, I'll go pick him up. I don't care what it costs.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
down the road.
The argument for the Eagles would be, hey, you got 2 picks. You can gamble with one of them, the 10 on Bijan or the 30 on Charbonnet or Gibbs. So I can understand the Philadelphia Eagles saying, give me the younger guy. We're already going to get a defensive beast at 30 or at 10. We could use 2 of them. I mean, I'm not saying that's not a possibility, but and then bring Derrick Henry in on top of that. That's an awesome move. But, you know, you could say that if you love Gibbs and Charbonnet or Bijan or all 3 like I do, it does have its advantages to say, let's go with the younger rookie for 3 years and then have the, you know, or we have the 5th-year option, actually. So yeah.
Hey, question: Do you have the order of the second round of the draft?
Not
that
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Because I wouldn't be. I mean, I'd like to see what the order is, because if for some reason these guys get pushed down, and maybe Bijan's the only running back to go in the first round, how far into the second? Because they got to go in the second round.
Yeah, we broke this down on a previous show, but it'd be good to do it again, especially with some of the trades we might not remember, like if something got moved. But let's see, round 2. So round 2 looks as follows right here. Let me go ahead and put it on screen. Hold on a second. I'm going to screenshot it. So this is the round 2 draft board.
Well, Henry's not costing any team a first-round pick, so I feel they could easily draft their first 2 picks in the first round and still get Henry.
Who is this? Corey? I'm sorry, Corey. You've been on hold.
Yeah.
You've been on hold a while, Corey. I apologize. Corey, you sound like Ron Navy's cousin. Like when you started talking,
Yeah.
I thought that was Ron Navy. Thought maybe you were Ron was taking a sip of water when he was talking. I thought he was going, oh, all right. Really liked it. I'm like, is that Ron Navy? Are you guys related? Is your last name Navy?
They're related.
Is your last name Navy? All right.
Yeah, I'm Corey Army, and he's Ron Navy.
Yeah. Cousins. Cousins. Sorry, go ahead, Corey. What were you saying?
So, I mean, Derrick Henry, but he's not costing any team a first-round pick.
No.
So, I mean, but I think Bryce Young goes. I do think Bryce Young goes first. I think with D'Amico Ryans with the Texans, they could go defense because they could say their A-Rich on defense is like Tyree Wilson. And then what if the Texans went defense and then receiver at 12 and then traded up and got like Hendon Hooker and had Davis Mills until Hooker was
Yeah,
healthy.
I mean, look. Hooker would have been in the 2-3 quarterback conversation had he not tore his ACL. So I really do like the idea of that for a team like the Texans. I also like the Texans going after, that number one quarterback next year. That would be amazing. And if they somehow successfully tank, then it's like you have JSN, you got Caleb, you got a strong squad. I mean, you're the Detroit Lions for 2024. Ron, to answer your question, I got the picks up on screen here. It's a little blurry, but Pittsburgh's got that that 32 overall. Houston's got 33. Right. So for anybody that says Bijan 12, probably more so likely to hope that Charbonnet or Gibbs falls to 33. And honestly, this is one of those things where we think those are the top three, and we don't even like blink or bat an eye. But like I could see a team taking a quarterback out of turn, like the Texans going after a Sean Tucker, Zach Evans, something like that, ahead of like Charbonnet, and we'd be like, what? Oh my God! But like we're thinking the way we think. Colts aren't taking one. Rams aren't taking a quarterback, most likely. Seattle won't. Raiders could at 38. Carolina Panthers could at 39. Saints could at 40. I mean, like Charbonnet falls to 40 or something crazy. They could take him.
Yeah.
Titans could take him. Packers won't. Let's see here. Jets at 43 won't. Falcons at 44 would. New England, I mean, don't think that Bill wouldn't take a running back at 46 if his running back fell. He's just that crazy. We got some super chat. Let me get these super chats up.
I hope this doesn't happen.
What, Ron?
Freaking Bucky Brooks got Bijan going to New England. I pray. Well, all the places I do not want Bijan to go to is New England.
Yeah, I said this in my my Bijan video. I said that Bijan's situation proof minus maybe Tennessee, which could be okay. It's just not great. He won't be the number one overall redraft running back in Tennessee. I mean, they'd have to trade away Henry, but it's still the offensive line. The offense, it's not good. New England would also be a disaster because you got Ramondre's not just going away, and Bill's weird, and there's no offense. Like, those are the two situations that we're going to have to hold our breath a little bit. Let me just get these super chats out of the way. Thank you, Steven, for the $10 hauler. He's on the phone line, drops a $10 hauler while he's doing that. Thank you. Appreciate the multitask skills. Harry Crum says Stroud is a bum. That says Harry. I'm not a big fan of Stroud, but I wouldn't call him a bum. But I'd say he's not a guy that I feel has that top 5, top 6, top 7 quarterback upside. That's just me. Could he be Goff-like? And Goff had kind of played that way last year, but like I don't think anybody thinks Goff long term is going to continue that. But like for this year, Goff could. Like Goff could do it a couple years in a row, sure. But he feels like he has that kind of ceiling, but I don't think he's got the elite ceiling. I just don't feel like Stroud has it, but I feel like Bryce Young does. But Bryce Young is a Kmart Mahomes at best, AR-15 or CJ, says Garrett. Garrett, I'm not shocked you disagree with me on it. Like, let's put it that way. Check.
I agree with you.
Other super chat, Smitty. Bryce is overrated. Garrett, I still disagree with you, but I appreciate your super chat again, young man. So, Ron, I don't know if this answers your question here. Houston at 33. Cardinals at 34 could take Charbonnet. That wouldn't surprise me. Gibbs. Cardinals could take Gibbs if he fell. But I truly believe one of those guys will go in the top 22 to 31.
New Orleans could take Gibbs. I mean, that'd be like, especially if Kamara gets his thing. I mean, he's a Kamara type player. You might be Kamara's replacement.
Yeah. Let's go on over. Somebody's been on the phone line a long time. I apologize. It's James. James, how long have you been there?
James?
How's it going?
Are you related to Ron Navy?
I'm not.
Okay. James, what can we do for you?
They all sound the same.
While we were talking about the Texans, I had another scenario I wanted to spin. What if the Texans went defense number 2, JSN number 12, and put it in an offer sheet for Lamar? How would you feel about that?
I love that. I love that.
Love it.
I think New England needs to do that. New England, There's no better plan of attack than New England at 14 taking JSN or Addison or Zay Flowers or Quentin Johnson, and then after the draft going and getting Lamar. The teams that are going to go do what I'm suggesting, go get Lamar after the draft when the draft capital is out of the way, are the teams that are capable of it are the Texans, the Colts, the Titans, the New England Patriots, the Falcons. Even though they say they're not, I think they're dumb not to. I think that's why I say it. I don't think that there is a shot. Arthur Blank already shot a couple blanks on this topic and just insulted Lamar to the point where it's hard to imagine it happening. But then again, the reason I hesitate to like lock myself into that thinking is, remember when Carr went and visited the New Orleans Saints, and the report was, and we heard Arthur Blank from his own mouth though, trash Lamar. But remember when Carr went to visit the Saints, and it was like they asked him to take a pay cut and he left mad, and then he went back and signed. So it's like we don't really, it's so hard to know. So Falcons, I would say Falcons, Colts, Texans, Patriots, Washington, Commanders. Those are the Lamar Jackson teams in waiting. And I fully agree with you. If you're not going to take a QB here and you take JSN at 12 and you get Lamar, you have yourself a playoff caliber team immediately. If the New England Patriots take Lamar and via the 24 and 25 first rounders on the offer sheet after the draft, but don't draft a wide receiver here, how is this much different than Baltimore? So New England has to take a wide receiver. If they go Addison at 14, then we have to start going, whoa. What are they doing here? Is Bill planning a little Lamar strike? Is Bill going after Lamar? Whatever team drafts a wide receiver in this 11 to 21 range that doesn't have a quarterback, like Washington. I like Sam Howell, I do. But they don't really have a locked-in quarterback. Houston doesn't have a locked-in quarterback. Tennessee doesn't have a locked-in quarterback. New England doesn't have a locked-in quarterback. If one of those teams go get JSN, Addison, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnson, we know there's a little bit higher likelihood there may be one of those Lamar Jackson sleeping giant. I'm going to go get him after the NFL draft when the draft capital is different, to surrender. So, I'm so pumped for that opportunity. Real quickly, I know Ron. I think I hear Ron. You all sound the same. You're all Ron Navy. Caller 315. You've been on hold for a while. Are you Ron Navy too?
What's up, Smitty?
Who's this?
This is Russian Collusion.
Russian, what's up, my guy? So good to hear from you, bro. You need to call in more.
I've tried to get in so many times, but now that you have more phone lines, I finally got in. And great to hear you guys. Ron Navy, how you doing?
Hey, Russian, good to hear from you, brother.
Hey, Russian, I added you into the phone line, so when you dial in, I will answer. So you just needed to call in, and I got you added. Maybe last time you called, I had too many callers, and I couldn't locate your number and tag you. But I got you tagged now.
I think that was the problem.
If I'm in the middle, I don't care. I don't care if it's in the middle of the night, Russian. I'm answering it, so you're good. You're good. Go. What can we do for you?
All right. So I just got a question because everybody's talking about all these earlier picks, and I know the Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan, and the Cowboys are at 26. They've been talking about Bijan. They ain't got a chance at 26. I don't see any teams willing to let the Cowboys trade up. So what do you think about a Gibbs or a Charbonnet in there, Alex? What do you think that their needs are?
I just threw up in my mouth. But
I know you did.
I mean, could it happen? Yeah.
Listen. I love Pollard too, but I just don't think he's a 3-down back. I mean, I see him. I love him. I just don't think he's 100% 3-down back.
But is he? So maybe you just got to wrap your head around what kind of back he is, though. Because was Alvin Kamara a 3-down back? Was, you know what I mean? Like people think of him as a workhorse hybrid. Like I coined him a workhorse hybrid because I do believe Alvin Kamara is a workhorse back. I just define it workhorse differently. Like I always get people argue with me. He's not a workhorse. Derrick Henry's a workhorse. Okay, fine. I'm so tired of arguing because I disagree. I'm so tired of arguing it. I'm using a new term now, and so hybrid workhorse. So do you think that he, like Kamara, could withstand Kamara's work usage? If so, then he could survive. You know, no one's wanting him to run for 1,400 yards, and so they do need a complement to him. But
I want him to.
yeah, but I'm not saying he can't get 1,700 total yards,
right.
But like you don't want him running for 1,400 yards,
right?
So I mean,
if they don't go running back, where do you think you're going?
And they could go running back. That's
what are your thoughts?
That's my concern. That's why I did throw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
If they go, you know what I'd like to see him do?
Tight end.
I was just gonna say I'd love to see him get Kincaid or Mayer, which I don't think both of them will be available there. Maybe both are gone. Darnell Washington.
I'd love to see.
Musgrave.
I think that's where they should go.
Laporta.
They should go tight end, I believe, but I know they won't.
No, they could. They could. I don't think it's out of the question because this tight end crew, like, Jerry, he loves weapons. He loves toys. And these tight ends are hyped as if they're like wide receivers. So maybe he's looking at this tight end class a little different. But I don't know if you guys saw that press conference with Jerry Jones and just kind of like crapped all over the coaching staff. And he's like, we don't have a player problem. We have a coaching problem. And then you saw McCarthy like up there. He's up there with them going, and he's like, well, but it was
he's
like
gonna sell off 2 second-round picks and move up and get Bijan Robinson probably.
I got to admit, guys, I had a little bit of panic that rushed across my body when I saw Jerry Jones say that, and I looked at McCarthy and he looked like a puppet. McCarthy looked like a puppet up at that podium, and it kind of worries me for Dallas. This is a guy that's supposed to be this decision maker. He's taken over the reins. Moore's gone. McCarthy's now the play caller. We're supposed to be just okay with it without even knowing how it's going to unravel. I have to admit, my natural instinct was panic mode initiated when I saw McCarthy sit up there and just get punched like a punching bag. And he just looked like a little bit of a, I don't know.
Can I say something, Smitty?
Coaching coward. Like I didn't like it. Yeah, go ahead, Ron. Or Ron, I'm sorry, Steven. Sorry, Ron.
Have you ever read Sun Tzu, The Art of War?
I have read.
If you haven't, it's a really good read.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, as the owner, Jerry Jones is like the controller of this deal. He needs to stay out of it. The controller stays out of it. You let the generals do general stuff, and you let everybody else handle their own roles. And he cannot do that. He cannot stay out of his own way. He can't keep his mouth shut. He wants in front of the cameras every single time, whether they win or they lose, and it's all mad and everything. Jerry Jones is the reason why the Dallas Cowboys haven't won 3 more Super Bowls. They had excellent teams for the last 10 years.
Okay, but let me pause you there.
Worst owner ever in professional football.
Let me pause you there and just say, like, I think everyone agrees with. I think everybody agrees that he can get in the way, but I mean, it's not going to change. And so, to my point, that McCarthy looked not in control up there. I just wonder how good McCarthy's going to do. I feel like this.
Laporta.
Yeah, but my whole point was
it's like putting handcuffs on somebody and letting them run your organization. You can't do it. And that's what's happening there, I believe.
Well, I remember Jerry back when he bought the team and he was out there. Remember in the Joe Namath, he had those mink coats on. He was standing out there on the field and everything. Kind of told you everything you need to know.
Hey, Steven, are you really Jerry Jones? Because you sound like him.
Do I? You know what? I may be, because I would make just as stupid decisions. I guarantee you, they'd be worse. Nobody needs to have me in charge of anything. I don't even know if I could water the grass right.
That's true.
You know what makes sense, though? And I want to go back. The Texans, right? They're sitting back, and they very might. Well, I mean, you're talking about the GM who did the massive deal to get rid of Watson and get him away from Houston to Cleveland. And how do we know that Houston isn't really? They might not take a quarterback because they're the ones that are going to go after Lamar. And if they go after Lamar, they're sitting in the best position because Baltimore is going to look at it, and even if they come in and they get Lamar to agree with it, even if like Lamar's like it's between two teams, who's the team that Baltimore will likely sign off on? It would be Houston, simply because they have the less chance of they could get a higher 2 first-round draft picks out of where Houston would finish.
Well, but it's team, not. But it's not a thing where the Ravens get multiple offers and they decide. Lamar decides. So if Lamar gets an offer,
I know
he'll sign it, and then that's it. There's no like bidding war.
But what I'm saying, Baltimore would more likely be like, okay, we're not going to match it. I'm saying letting Lamar go instead of matching the offer.
Yeah, look,
because they were. I mean, then other team that they would like, it would be a gamble, of course.
Yeah,
they'd be betting on Houston. They'd be getting higher draft picks from Houston.
Yeah.
From where they finished than from a different team.
Look, one of the first videos we're going to do after the draft ends, and I know everybody's tired of Lamar Jackson talk, but the first video we do, once we know that the Texans are out of the Lamar sweepstakes, if they take a quarterback, or if they don't, we know they're in. The Colts will know if the Colts are in the Lamar sweepstakes. Literally, the moment the first round's over, probably during our live stream, we'll be breaking down. Now this team's like, we'll have a Lamar board. I'll have a Lamar board, and they'll say this team's now out or this team's now in. And so it comes down to the Texans, the Colts, the Falcons. The Raiders are still, they're not going to go get Lamar, but they're still in a quarterback search. So like Hendon Hooker, but they're out on, they're not going to go after Lamar. The Houston Texans, the Washington Commanders, the New England Patriots, the Bucks maybe, but I don't know. I don't get that vibe right now. Those are the teams that especially Houston, especially New England, especially Washington, that are being very quiet about all this, and for good reason. You're not going to tip your hand and show everybody what you're working with. So Washington, New England, and Houston are just, and Tennessee, they're all sitting real quiet right now because they don't want to give up this draft capital here. If you go offer Lamar an offer sheet, and you can only do so if you have a first rounder in the 2 most immediate NFL drafts, which is why the Niners can't even talk to Lamar. The Miami Dolphins can't even talk to Lamar right now. Once the draft's over, and these teams that don't want to surrender these early picks, all of a sudden they use it. They use it on JSN. They use it on offensive line. They use it on a tight end. Then, as soon as the draft's over, they go, Lamar, here's the offer sheet. Sign it quick. Lamar's getting 1 or 2 offers. I firmly believe it. Could we be wrong? Yeah. I mean, we're wrong. I was wrong on Lamar getting no offers walking out of this, or walking into this pre-NFL draft offer sheet process. I'm dumbfounded. I'm dumbfounded that the New England Patriots don't say, you know what? We think Houston's going to come for Lamar. We think Tennessee's going to come for Lamar. We think the Washington Commanders are coming for Lamar. If I'm New England, I say, who cares about this 14 overall pick? Let's go get Lamar now. I think they need that pick. Like, they need JSN, or I'm not high on Lamar as much in New England. But my point is to not go after him now because of this draft capital. You run the risk of a bidding war, and Lamar decides where he goes. He takes the one offer sheet he likes the most. He signs it. It goes to Baltimore. Baltimore takes a look at it. If they like it, the offer as a contract, they'll deny, they'll sign Lamar, they'll accept that offer, and then they get Lamar, and that team did all the contractual work. Or if they don't like it,
it's going to be Detroit, and it's going to be Lamar going there, and we get Jared Goff back in the trade, and then I get a lifetime subscription to everything you have on your channel.
And then what happens if
we had that bet?
Okay, what happens if it doesn't? You're going to buy the $99 membership? Is that right?
No, you're going to pay for it.
No, if you're wrong.
If I win that one, if Lamar winds up going to Detroit and Jared Goff goes
we heard you.
to the Baltimore Ravens in this massive trade.
Got it.
that you told me, and you can look it back on one of your streams.
Oh, it was just
that,
a free. It was
you,
a free.
I
It was
said
a freebie.
I would remember the rest of my life, and
Okay.
I had like the highest clearance.
Okay. It was just a freebie bet I gave you, right? You weren't in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Smitty.
Ron knows. He heard the whole thing.
I believe you. I believe you, Steve.
Somebody in the chat, please find and give Jake the Snake his mental medication. I mean, he's in there spewing that Cleveland's going to win the North. Please find his mental medication.
I got an
and give
idea,
it to
Ron.
him.
I got an idea. Why don't we just ask him himself, because he's on the phone? Jake the Snake, go ahead.
Well, that's not what I called in for. Guys, this is a rookie-only conversation, okay? I
Smart
can say
man.
whatever I want in the chat.
Smart
It's a
man.
free country.
Take your meds.
I want to talk about the receivers.
Take your meds
because,
first.
All right, thanks, bud. So I like Zay Flowers to the Chargers a lot. I'm really, really excited to watch where Zay Flowers goes on draft night. A lot, because I think Zay Flowers, everyone's worried about his height, but if he gets a precision quarterback, we're going to be talking about Zay Flowers a lot differently coming out of this draft,
Well,
I think.
I mean, are we really going to? Because
The Moon Man.
I mean, he's on the moon, man. for
Dropping
goodness
loads
sakes.
in outer space.
He's right
No, I
here.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other point I wanted to make is Addison. So Addison, I don't know if you probably watched the film on him, Smitty, but it's really hard for me to evaluate him because I almost feel like USC's scheme hurt him. Like, he was a precision route runner, but I didn't see an explosiveness that I feel like is probably in his game just because of the way they used him. So Addison's really tough for me. I like him more than Johnston, but I almost feel like I have like an unsure feeling overall about him.
He's a
I
little
feel like-
undersized, which is part of the problem. So the undersized part is a little bit of an issue. He's a little bit, like you said, the fact that he did well and then transferred and did bad, like not bad, but he didn't have the year that is deserving of his draft capital right now. Like if he only had the season he had in 2022, he wouldn't be a player that we even be talking about in the first round. But because he had such a good previous year, he's in the top 4 wide receiver rankings. But Addison, he's a special kid that needs to be in the right spot, but he definitely has that feel of Corey Davis or Treylon Burks, who I don't believe in. And if you still believe in Treylon Burks, then you can just put your earmuffs on for that, whoever's watching. But like Treylon Burks and Corey Davis were good prospects that didn't translate like we wanted them to, and maybe Corey does. And I feel like Addison's he's got a lot of that risk, but he also has the risk of, if you overlook him and he goes to an ideal place, he really does have a nice skill set. If you put him in a Chargers uniform, to the moon. You put him in Tennessee like Burks, doesn't do anything. You know, like whereas if you put JSN in Tennessee, they build around him. He's got a better likelihood of being relevant. But situation's king. Even JSN in Tennessee wouldn't do that well. Like we wouldn't see him. So I think with the wide receivers, especially this draft class, not being the Olaves and the Londons and the Garrett Wilsons, they are very situation dependent. As much as I love JSN, and I do, he is like Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp wouldn't have really become Cooper Kupp if he wasn't in that unique situation. He's not the best wide receiver in some categories, but he's a phenomenal route runner. He's just got great hands. He's a great slot wide. He's a great possession wide receiver. He's so good at doing everything. And he was in an amazing spot. And so Addison, I don't want to write him off, but I will say that like Flowers, when I did my December-January analysis, that had no consideration to landing spot, no consideration to the consensus, no buzz consideration, just me looking at the footage. And I do about a 10 to 15 hour video cram session. Even though I've watched them all year, I do a 10 to 15 hour video cram session on all the rookies, like the night before the ball drops on New Year's Day. And I just smash through all this footage. And I force myself to rewatch players I watched all year. And I come away with different, takes sometimes too. So it's really good and healthy. And then I do it again in like March, April, which I've already done. But I sat there and watched Zay Flower videos and JSN videos and Addison videos and Quentin Johnston videos. And I have to say, by hands down, far and away, Zay Flowers blew me away way more than these other wide receivers. But he has to go to a great spot. If he goes to the Chargers, he's going to be phenomenal. So landing spot is unfortunately key for these guys. And it always kind of is for wide receivers more than RBs because you can't get the football thrown to you. How are you going to do well? How is Terry McLaurin faring when he's the top 6 to 10 wide receiver and we've never seen it develop? How has DJ Moore been playing the last handful of years?
Panthers when they take Bryce Young, you got Adam Thielen sitting in there. Now he's been written off. He's older, but he is an excellent possession receiver, and those defenses in that division are not that good. And if Bryce Young is going to throw the ball and he gets a security blanket, I don't know how many yards he could get or whatever, but he's still quite capable, I believe.
Ian, appreciate your being a member for the YouTube exclusive membership and your question. The Seahawks, I'm hoping they get Anthony Richardson. I really am. Some might call that a waste of a pick because you're not going to necessarily use him. You just paid Geno a ton of money. But that kind of, when you look at the Seahawks, good offensive line, amazing run game, amazing wide receivers. They can draft other defensive players, coach up defense. The main concern, and I feel like I could say this for a majority of people out there, is that they have that quarterback situation on lock and they don't miss on it. Because you need DK and Lockett or whoever you have later on, because Lockett's getting older, stretching the field and keeping that run going. That run is dependent on the pass and moving the chains. And to have Anthony Richardson there and Geno, and maybe Geno holds him off and it'll be a fun thing to see. But to have those two quarterbacks, even though it's going to create an uncomfortable situation for Geno after you just paid him, that's the most important thing to me for Kenneth Walker. I'll sleep like a baby. Smitty will have the best night's sleep of his life just by the Seahawks having that quarterback situation locked for the next decade. I will be so happy.
You talked about
Hold on, let's let Ron Navy go first, then Steven will come back.
No, go ahead, Ron. I got you.
Burks didn't have a quarterback, and so I still kind of high on Burks if he gets a quarterback because I think his potential is still high. Same along with Pierce. Pierce had a crappy quarterback, Ryan, that couldn't get him the ball. I still got potential for him. Addison, you just can't look at what he did at USC. You have to look at what he did at Pitt because, with Pickett, he did everything. If you look at what he did at USC, you're missing his best qualities. And he's already proven when he was with Pitt what he can do. He's already proven what he can do. So if you're going to look at his tape in a real fashion, you kind of got to look at what he did at Pitt and kind of skip the USC stuff because USC screwed him up. It was a mistake for him to transfer. And I think one of the reasons he transferred is because he no longer had his ticket there. They had a great thing, but if you look at how he ran his routes, if you look at, outside, inside, slot, everything, he is smooth, and I think he's still, he needs to go to a team that has a decent quarterback. That's all he needs is a decent quarterback.
What if Pittsburgh took him at 17? What if Pickett got reunited with him? That'd be crazy.
I think we'll go offensive tackle at 17.
Yeah, Addison, you got to factor in Pitt, but it's understandable why we're all a little worried about it. But you can't deny what he did at Pitt. That's why he's in the top 3 wide receiver rankings is because everyone's looking at Pitt and they're saying, look what he did in Pitt. I don't care what he did at USC. I care about what he did at Pitt, and that's what most people are thinking.
That's the receiver you're going to get if you do.
$5 hauler here from Cody. Cody says, I've got the 1.2 and the 1.9 in a rookie draft. Would you take JSN or Gibbs at 1.2? Do you think Charbonnet might fall to 1.9? I get this question a lot about Charbonnet falling. Hopefully he falls. If he goes to a good spot, he's not going to sneak up on anybody to this degree, bro. If he goes to a bad spot, we're all pissed off. Okay, and I'm not saying he's no longer a guy we want, but if he goes to a good location, no one's sleeping on him at the 1.9 level. You know what I mean? He's going like top 5 overall. You never know, though. If he lands in a cloudy situation, he will be crafty to still go consume at the 1.9 territory, sure. But if you want Charbonnet, you're going to have to pay the piper, bro. He might be the 1.2 overall after the draft. So I'd be prepared for that. Gibbs at 1.2, JSN, depends on what you need. Depends on if it's a 3 required wide receiver league and a 2 running back, and you can't even start a third running back, and you don't even need a running back. So many things go into play. In general, I have Gibbs over JSN. I have Bijan, Gibbs, Charbonnet. JSN is my default ranking that doesn't factor in any of your leagues or situations or team needs or whatever. Even in PPR, that's my ranking. I have Charbonnet and Gibbs ahead, but landing spots will 100% change my opinion. I'm almost certain of it. At least one of those players could move up or down one spot, or maybe Zay Flowers jumps ahead of JSN because he goes to the Chargers and JSN goes to the Titans. If JSN's a Titan and Zay Flowers is a Charger, I think you're borderline, I don't know, banned from the show. If you think that Zay Flowers can't be better than JSN if JSN's in a Tennessee Titan uniform and Flowers is catching footballs from Justin Herbert. And Herbert climbs back into the top 6. Great question, though, Cody. A lot of people ask it. Steven, you were trying to interrupt earlier. Go ahead.
Well, I won a 2-quarterback league about 2 or 3 years ago with Ryan Tannehill as my second quarterback. Now, just from a pure football perspective, I watched him when he was in Miami, and he's an excellent quarterback. And he got the Titans. He did everything they asked him to do, and he was pinpoint with the football. He is going to be definitely an excellent a backup quarterback, or somebody can step
Who are you talking about?
role.
Are you talking about Tannehill?
Yeah.
It sounds like your Damian Harris take. All right, hang tight real quick. Russian collusion. You've been waiting again patiently. James, I don't know if I've gotten to you yet. Scott, you guys are next, so please hang tight. And Stephen from Massachusetts, hang tight. Got a lot of people on the phone here. Russian, what's going on, pal? What's running through your mind?
Nothing. I'm just listening to you guys talk, and because I'm on the road right now, and so it's just good to be able to listen in and hear what you guys talking about. I hated missing you last night, but I had to watch my Rangers get beat, so it kind of pissed me off. But I should have just continued to watch Smitty.
Did the Suns game start? Russian, thank you for reminding me. You just reminded me about the Suns game.
Yeah.
Somebody dropped off the line here. Who was that? Corey. Corey, if you have a question, call back in, Corey. I'm sorry we didn't get to you. Russian, hang tight. Russian, interrupt if you have anything. James, have I gone to you yet?
Yeah, you got to me. I have another quick question, though.
Okay.
As a Cardinals fan, what do your Cardinals do in this draft?
If they're smart, they take Anthony Richardson. But they're not smart. So, I mean, they could go. They could take the best defensive player in the draft. They could go Bijan and trade down. They could go JSN by trading down. They could do a lot of things that I would absolutely love, but they'll do what I don't like. They'll never take. I wanted them to take Najee Harris. I wanted them to take, for a couple of years, Breece Hall. I wanted Breece Hall. Kind of glad they didn't because I love where Breece Hall is, but I wanted Breece Hall. And it's just ridiculous when you see a team. And this is why I'm such a best player available fantasy football analyst, is that it drives me nuts when NFL teams don't take the best player available and they take position of need, just spreadsheet Steven. Sorry, Steven. Some spreadsheet Steven. Just getting out there, looking at their spreadsheet blindly. Don't even need to evaluate the players. According to my spreadsheet, this is the player to take. Use your eyeballs in your judgment. And when a guy like Bijan's sitting there, even at number 3 overall, and he's the number 1 prospect on the entire board, and I said this about Sauce Gardner. This is just not me being offensive-minded. Sauce Gardner was the number 1 player in his draft class. Plain and simple. That's how I felt. Bijan's number 1. I'm not saying you don't try and trade down, just like I advise fantasy football people to trade down when they can get away with getting value elsewhere. But the Cardinals shouldn't mess around. They should take Bijan Robinson. They love to run the football. It's what I would do if I was the owner, or I'd take Anthony Richardson. They probably won't. They'll probably screw it up. They probably won't even take the right defensive player. They'll probably trade down maybe and then not take the right player at all. I just don't have a good feeling about the Cardinals right now. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm excited on draft day. I'm being a little pessimistic, but I think history tells us they probably won't take the right player. But we'll see. I mean, to believe in Kyler,
I agree.
Gannon doesn't know what he's.
I agree 100%.
Gannon's already committed to Kyler, and he's like, the reason I took the job was to Kyler. You what?
You better have a backup plan for your draft, because if the Cardinals were to get Bijan, you're gonna have a heart attack. You're gonna be so excited. You're gonna have a heart attack right on the live stream. So you better be prepared to have a backup plan to take care of you.
Yeah, Denny. I'll have Denny on standby. I'll patch Denny through on Skype. I'll just let Denny take over the show. I don't think I want, like, if I'm being honest though, like, this is me. I'm totally able to not be a Cardinal fan in my analysis. I never wear my Cardinal hat ever. In fact, I'm so hardened to all that like I literally have to like convince myself to get back into a fandom state of mind. I really don't. I enjoy talking about football more than if I've got a fantasy player going against the Cardinals. As much as I am a Cardinal fan, I can wear those two hats without a hesitation or any complication. And I can tell you right now, is while I'd be extremely excited about it, I'd rather have Bijan go to Chicago. I'd rather have Bijan go to the Eagles. Those are better situations. They're better for his fantasy value, and I could easily sacrifice that desire to make sure Bijan goes to the right place. It's not a bad spot. The Cardinals are not a bad spot, but there are better locations that I will be rooting for. And like I said, I'm glad Breece Hall isn't a Cardinal in a sense. But, if I put my fan hat on, I definitely do, want Bijan. And I'd rather have Bijan go to the Cardinals than go to New England. So like lesser of, I wouldn't say two evils, because the Cardinals aren't a bad spot, but I definitely would. Let me go over to let's see, who hasn't talked yet? Steven from Massachusetts, you haven't talked yet, right?
No, I haven't talked yet.
All right, go ahead, bro.
Hey, question for you. I don't know if you've seen. I don't know. 'Cause I know this is a rookie only show that you wanted to talk about. Did you see that Will Levis? His draft stock spiked up. Rumors were saying that it was some guy on Reddit. I guess is what, because even like the sports books are like picking up on it. That I guess like somebody posted that he heard something from like his family or something that he's gonna go to like number one overall.
No.
Now like the sports books are like changing like their odds. He went from like a plus 1,400 to go number one, and now it's like at a plus like 400.
No.
I don't know if you've seen this because everybody's like picking it up, and now like ESPN and like all these like other places are like talking about it.
No, he's not going one overall. But could he go two? The maybe you're mistaken on. Maybe you're right. Maybe someone's putting that out there. But the odds of him going number two have increased a ton. So that's where some of that's coming from. But maybe there is somebody out there on Reddit, talking about it. Wouldn't surprise me. But I think it's some of it's about Stroud just falling. Like it's not that Levis is climbing or doing anything to earn it. It's that Stroud like doubt and buzz around this mental aptitude test or whatever it was, cognition test, had Stroud drop and just plummet. I mean, teams are scared to death of that stuff, and whether you believe it to be an actual like thing to monitor or look at and assess or not, the teams do, and they're trying to patch that wound and fix it, because it did some damage. Stroud definitely dropped in a lot of people's eyes. Now the question is, did he drop in the eyes of the Texans or the Colts? Because that's really all that matters. And I don't know the answer to that. I think nobody knows the answer to that. But Stroud could be this draft's Malik Willis, where not to say he won't be he'll be better than Malik, but I'm saying he could fall in like a shocking fashion. I don't think he falls to the second round. I just think he could fall to like 7, 6, 5, and we'd be like, whoa. You know, in the case of Ron Navy, who loves him, that's going to be a steal for whatever team gets him. And if you doubt him, then you say it's justified that he fell and that he wasn't, you know. Bryce Young to me is the top dog. He's the guy. I love Anthony Richardson. He's my number 2, especially when we're talking fantasy, right? We're talking fantasy more than NFL, but we're also kind of putting our NFL hat on. But Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson are the fantasy monsters of this running back or this 2023 QB class. But Bryce Young is the both of them for me. He's the best NFL quarterback. He's the best fantasy quarterback. He's going to have the most doubt by far, even though he's going to also have a very big fan club. The amount of doubt around his size is so rampant and spreading like an illness all over. It's everyone is either in love with them or they completely think he's an absolute bust. But I will say this. In all the years that I've done this, the psychology that I like to bring to this show, I can dabble. I got the psych degree. I can dabble. I believe that a majority of everybody that's down on Bryce Young is continuing to just double down. There are not a lot of people in this world, and I'm not saying that against like anybody. Like Ron, I know you're not super high on Bryce Young, so I don't want you to think I'm jabbing this at you. I think you really believe Stroud, and you got your order, and you have a lot of logic behind it. But a lot of the people that don't like delve into it, they just kind of hear things, and they draft in August, and they barely do anything. You know, those are the people I'm talking about. When people say, "Oh yeah, Bryce Young's too small, he's gonna bust," and they just kind of repeat what they hear. I think a lot of people don't want to be wrong. They've already said this. They've already kind of like doubled down on it, and so now it's time to triple down because it's not a good feeling as a human being to be like, yeah, you know what, I do like him now, because it's hard. Like it's hard to do that. It's just a natural instinct to triple down, double down, triple down on things. And I think when you start hearing positive things like his mental processing's above everybody else, you hear scout after scout come out, each day and say this guy processes on the NFL field like nobody in the class because he's moving around. He's shorter than everybody. He's navigating treacherous waters. And to have this aptitude and cognition test or whatever prove that he's in the 98 to 9, he's the number one. He's the number one guy scoring on this test, whether you want to throw the test out or not. It's just nice confirmation that everybody's saying, and I say, he's the best processor on the field. This is Patrick Mahomes mentality. You can say he's the Kmart version, like Garrett said, of Patrick Mahomes. I don't really care. And I'm not saying he's going to be Patty Mahomes, but he processes on the field like Patrick Mahomes. That, in my opinion, is fact. Whether he translates talent-wise, that's a whole different thing. We'll find out. But he processes on the field like nobody in the draft class, and that's proven by the eyeball test, the stats, and scouting, and also this mental cognition test. So all those are great pieces to support that he's going to work out. He's going to work out. And like Tomlinson said, this is not the old NFL. This is an NFL where the players, the quarterbacks specifically, are put in a bubble, and you can't hit a quarterback anymore. And yeah, he could take a blind side shot and get a concussion and, suffer all that. But this is a different NFL where the quarterback is protected. And if anybody's going to survive at a smaller stature and size, it's in this generation of quarterback.
Yeah.
Jonathan, phone lines are open.
Most of the quarterbacks that come out of college that win the Heisman are busts. So, if that's any indication of Young, you can name me the last Heisman quarterback winner that has taken a team to the Super Bowl or been relevant, except for, Cam Newton was relevant and maybe Palmer, but that was about it.
Joe Burrow did it. He won the Heisman in college, and then he took Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl.
Ron,
in that season, it was Tua Tagovailoa in the beginning, and then Tua got hurt, and then Joe Burrow when he was balling out in LSU and he won the national title, he was voted to win the Heisman, and then he took the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. Well, he lost the Super Bowl, but he took them all the way to the Super Bowl.
Ron,
Did he win the Heisman that year?
Ron.
I don't think he won Heisman. I'm looking at the last 25, and I don't see him.
Ron, Matt Leinart.
Is he big?
Matt Leinart, Ron. 2 words, Matt Leinart.
Matt Leinart, yeah, that was a good one.
Hey.
Joe Burrow did win it. 2020. He's the last one. I'm not saying it never happened, but if you look at the record of Heisman winning quarterbacks that have went to the NFL, most of them are mediocre, bust. There's a few that, like Cam Newton, I said, Palmer, that's done decent, but majority of them have busted.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Mariota's busted.
But here's the thing, like,
bust.
so Joe Burrow, like, I think that just ruins the argument, like, right there. Like, I get what you're saying, but he
have an outlier, Smitty. Of course, you're going to have an outlier.
Yeah, but
there's always an outlier.
Yeah, but Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, like, these are all still very. These aren't busts. They didn't bust at the NFL level. Joe Burrow, none of them are busts. But I would say that also, though, your argument of that is an indicator of, this. I don't think that it should be tied to it at all. I think it's 100% case by case with that type of stuff. I put zero stock into translating that data over. Just like I put zero stock in it. I think you do too, Ron, to say that a Ohio State quarterback can't translate at the NFL level because of this history of, like, look at Fields, I truly don't care about those things.
I said that about Ohio State. I said that about Alabama quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, I think Bryce Young is going to shock the world. I do. Am I worried there's a little Zach Wilson to him? I mean, you always are gonna be. You're always gonna be a little bit worried that there's bust potential, but there's bust potential for everybody. But I think Bryce Young, the fact that Bryce Young is head and shoulders above the entire class and head and shoulders above a lot of other classes from previous years in some of these categories, it's not like he's just a mediocre guy overall. Like, Levis is mediocre. He's got a really good arm, but he's like, if you were to look on a video game, he'd be like 6 and 7s across the board. Good potential. Yeah. Bryce Young's got that guy that's got those 9s and 10s, and then he's got the size thing at like 5 or 4. But like, he's got these 9s and 10s across the.
I'm talking about Heisman, but you're talking about combine numbers, and it's the same thing. It doesn't always reach over to the NFL once they get into the NFL and start playing. So everybody's high on the numbers, everybody's high on the combines, everybody's high on the tests, everybody's high on this and that. But how many times has that been they go over to the NFL and they've just been a bust? And how many times has a player that didn't get the notarization ended up being phenomenal? It happens all the time.
Notarization. He didn't get the form notarized. He didn't get his Heisman notarized, so it didn't translate. That's what happened, Ron. I get
exactly.
I get what you're saying, Ron, but I think at the end of the day, like what you just said about the combine, I don't use the combine. Like, if I was using the combine, I love Justin Ross. What I use is the combine as an accent. You know what I mean? Like,
I wasn't saying you.
No, I know.
I'm saying in general, people.
Yeah. No, I know, but I'm just explaining my thought process. I don't use a test score. Like I wouldn't hold that against Stroud if I didn't have any reservations about him already. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it's like just accessories that kind of help define something I might already be feeling. Just like the preseason, I think a lot of people are very bad at using preseason. Like, and I admit it took me years, but I've done this for a long time. It took me years to, I think, cherry pick the preseason to pick anything. And it still sometimes I struggle because you can never really know. But the preseason can mislead so many people. I think the good rule of thumb, if you struggle with this, anybody out there, with the preseason deceiving you, the combine deceiving you, Ohio State quarterbacks never translating, deceiving you, like these stats and these things that people like to pull in. Only let those things change your mind for the good or the bad. Justin Ross, going to be an amazing wide receiver because he's fast. Don't let your mind get changed by this stuff. Make sure it confirms what you already think. You know what I mean? So like Ron, I think you might be onto something that can be kind of like mapped out and proven to a degree. Like, why is it? Is it because you get the Heisman? No, maybe it's because it's a popularity contest and the person that traditionally wins isn't the best player, and it has really nothing to do with the Heisman. So then you got to ask yourself, did Bryce Young win it through a popularity contest, or did he win it like Joe Burrow, where he was the best player? So I think you just got to like use it as an accoutrement, an accessory, a piece of gravy, icing on the cake, versus letting it define the entire thing. You know what I mean? So for Bryce Young, I define Bryce Young Heisman winner as Joe Burrow Heisman winner. I don't define it as, Matt Leinart Heisman winner.
Yeah, but up until the point that Hooker got injured, was he not considered as one of the top Heisman prospects?
What's that have to do with it, though?
Yeah, he was.
What's that have to do with it, though? Like, I like Hooker. I like Hooker.
Yeah, I do too. But you're talking about a popularity contest and who deserves it and who doesn't deserve it. It's kind of the same thing with like the NFL does the same thing with the MVP. They announce the MVP before the Super Bowl's even played, and I think the MVP should be chosen after the Super Bowl is played, because that is really that's really when it should be.
I agree with you.
But they always.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with all that. I agree with all that. I think that.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
Throwing out there.
Yeah, I agree with that though. I think that for the MVP.
I mean, my eye test was Stroud, and watching him play, and putting the way he's played, especially against the Georgia defense in that game, and then putting that together with his performance at the Combine. You got to put everything together. You got to put real-time play over a period of longevity, and then you got to put, okay, well, how did he do during the Combine, which he did very, very well. And so I'm not letting some stupid test decide, oh, he's going to be a bust because he might have not have been got a good night's sleep or whatever, and did bad on the test. I'm not going to let that. And these NFL teams are stupid to think that way.
And you shouldn't. And you shouldn't let it affect you if you already like Stroud. And then I agree with you, and that's what I'm trying to say is like everybody should use it to their own advantage, and not let it stray you in a direction you weren't already thinking. So if you like Stroud already, similar to Brett Favre scoring so low on all this mental aptitude test stuff and being football smart, you should stick to your guns. Don't let it impact you. Me, I don't like Stroud. I like him. He's okay. Like I said, Goff. He could become Goff. But this all makes me, it validates it for me. And that's just all I'm saying. It should validate it for you. Justin Ross going out and running a amazing 40 time shouldn't, or Rager, none of this should have changed anything. I think watching JSN, here's a perfect example. And I'm telling you, it's taken me 20 years of doing this from a professional perspective to get even close, and I'm not mastering it at all. Everyone's still a novice in managing their own bias and trying not to let external things that don't matter impact. But when I look at JSN run a faster than anybody expected 40 time and still maintain all of his speed and cone drill and route running precision and excellence, and to come in and defeat this narrative that he wasn't quick. Maybe he wasn't a burner, but he went out there and in a short period of time went out there and changed a big part of his game, which was speed. And he became not a burner, but he became fast. He was fast. He wasn't ultra fast, but he was fast. That to me was an accent, like an additive, an accoutrement, an additional piece of supporting evidence that made me say, wow. It didn't deceive me. I was looking for something. I felt this way about JSN, and now I feel stronger about him. And I believe that wasn't the deceiving piece of the combine, where somebody else goes to the combine or watches the combine and they don't like Rager at all, and they're like, oh, this guy's quick, we'll go ahead and draft. That's where people go wrong.
Oh, I think receivers are the hardest to nail down and get right. I mean, you remember when Wims came out, Chicago drafted him? Man, I was all big on Wims, and he didn't do crap in the NFL. I mean, he just, wasn't you. I thought he was going to be the next best thing since Swiss cheese, and Wims ended up being such a bust.
I've been trying to think of what the Hendon Hooker animation is going to be. If Hendon Hooker becomes a real legit player, we're going to have fun with that one. It's like, the hooker's loose. Or there'll be something along those lines. Hey, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Play Games, appreciate you. Garrett, Bryce Young is more overrated than Olave. Garrett, in another life, Garrett, you and I would have been still probably not aligned. Garrett, I do want to ask Garrett if Garrett can phone in real quick. What does he like about my show? Just maybe the humor, the entertainment factor, the news. I just I can't imagine Garrett really loves my takes because we disagree about everything. Overrated than Olave.
I think Garrett loves Jake the Snake and Steven.
Yeah, I feel like Jake the Snake is at least got one foot in the door of our thinking and content. He's definitely out there. He's definitely outside the door, but he's got one foot in. Steven's got not Steven from Mass, but the other Steven. We need to rename Steven something else, like Steven no, I don't know. I guess we can't. We'll just keep it Steven from Mass. But Steven from Massachusetts, when I speak of Steven, I'm not talking about you. But Steven's got I think Steven's in the door. He's just backwards. He walked in backwards. That's all I'd describe Steven. He's all about our content. He's, and I don't, Garrett, I'm not trying to make you be a yes man, but I do genuinely want to know, you're such a generous guy. You come in here, you drop super chat after super chat. You drop more super chats in passion of your defiance to me than I've ever seen before. I respect you like a madman, but I am just genuinely curious if you like the content at all. I really am. I'm just very curious. At the risk of you never super chatting or coming in again, I am just genuinely curious if you are talked into or someone's holding your hand to watch my content. I love this guy though. Olave. he never fails to take a stab at Olave. Let me be so bold. Real quickly, Cody with a super chat. Appreciate that one. I answered that already. Garrett dropping that Bryce Young is so overrated. The new test is only one part of the draft process. What about good old-fashioned eye test, Stroud and AR-15 all day? Well, I think I addressed that, Garrett, by telling you my eye test on Bryce Young is my eyeballs started bleeding as I'm watching the footage on this guy. So he passed my eye test and did some damage to him. Bryce Young is the best comp is Zach Wilson, says Garrett. Look, Garrett just super chats to defy me. I love it. I absolutely love it, Garrett. Keep it coming. Russian collusion. Is he still on the phone? He dropped off. Collusion said Smitty had to drop off, had another call. Have a great night. Collusion, we need you here more often, buddy. And the phone line's always open to you.
Collusion. Need more collusion. Hey, what do you think about Steven? I mean, since Steven had a huge hailstorm, why can't we start calling him Hailing Steven? Because he comes in on the show and he's hailing left and right, and he's good at it. So, Hailing Steven, I say.
Steven the Storm.
Or something like that. Give him a nickname.
We'll think of something. Steven from Massachusetts, you got anything else?
Yeah. Did you see that Buffalo Bills? They're saying that they're interested in getting one of these rookie wide receivers. I wanted to get your thoughts on who do you think that would fall to them, or do you think that maybe they'd trade up? Who's one of these guys that you think that could go to Buffalo? And I guess what do you think their upside would be? Because Josh Allen didn't really have that connection with with Gabe Davis, and I know for a little bit he had it with McKenzie, but
Yeah,
McKenzie left,
if I'm
so-
Buffalo, I'll tell you how I win a championship right away. At least you're Super Bowl bound. You're Super Bowl bound. You go get Derrick Henry for a second-round pick, and you spend your first round, your late first round, or no, you go get Hopkins. You go get Hopkins with a second-round pick, and you draft Charbonnet or Gibbs with your number, 28 overall? What's the pick that they have? The Buffalo Bills have this 27 overall. You get Gibbs or Charbonnet, and you trade a second-rounder for DeAndre Hopkins, and you walk straight. You have a fast pass, one of those Disneyland fast passes. You just go straight into the Super Bowl. Like that, and they may not get that value out of Henry for more than 1 year. The same thing could be said for Eckler, and in a small degree, Dalvin Cook. Like I'm not thinking Dalvin Cook's a better option than Henry or Eckler, but he certainly isn't in that situation done to me. I think he's injury prone, but Dalvin Cook in a Buffalo Bill uniform with his brother, and I could see it for some reason, at the cost of a third or fourth round pick, because Dalvin Cook's not going to require a second round pick in compensation. It costs a third. Yeah. You give a third round pick for Dalvin Cook. You give up a second round pick for Hopkins. You could even do that and still use the 27 overall pick. You know what I mean? You go get Hopkins for a second, you get Dalvin Cook for a third, and you use the 27 overall pick on whatever you want. Like I feel like I could win a championship in literally less than I would do it that season if I was in charge of this Buffalo Bill or Bengal team. The Bengals are doing good too. They're building around Joe Burrow offensive line. I mean, if I had my animations, I think I got the mashed potato here somewhere. Yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals are on their way of improving things dramatically for 2023. But if they one up the situation, if they go all in and get Eckler at the cost of a second and a third. I don't think he costs a second, third, and fourth. That's what Christian McCaffrey cost. I think Eckler costs you a second and a fourth, second and a third maybe. It is worth it for the Bengals to get a runner like that. Or do what I also love very, very much and go use this number 28 overall pick, the Bengals, to get Jahmyr Gibbs or Zach Charbonnet, our favorite landing spots. Smitty passes out on the live stream. If these three guys go, not necessarily to these exact teams, but if these teams consume the landing spots for at least two, or especially all three of our RBs that we love, I am passing out on the live stream. And I'm going to have Denny take over.
No to Cincinnati.
Do you think Denny would let you even talk, Ron? Do you think he'd get? I think Denny would get a big head really quickly if he took over the show.
Denny and me would talk up a storm. Denny likes me, and we'd have a great time.
I don't think Denny would
let
handle.
me talk.
I don't think Denny could handle the crown. That it would be too heavy for his head. It would go to his head very quickly. It would go to his head very quickly. He probably wouldn't take any callers, and he would turn on me immediately. He would. I could see it. Maybe the next day he's apologetic about it.
Fantasy football show.
Denny would. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and we're asking a guy that doesn't show up for weeks, and who knows where he is right now. Hopefully he's healthy. Let's throw.
I was hoping the boss would call in after I said from the call in. I called him out to call in, but I was hoping he would. But then you put out that little short draft thing, and that was awesome. You got him to do the voice for that. So maybe Voss shows up on draft day.
He's always watching.
I'd like to hear the boss in here.
Wouldn't that be funny if it was like my dad and he walked in? Here's the boss. Ready? Here we go.
That would be funny.
2023. Join Smith.
Hold on.
Live 7 p.m. 5-hour draft coverage. Be there.
Hold on. We got a couple of these.
Hey, does the wife have you down? Kids busting your chops. Tell you what, take a break Thursday starting 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Join Smitty's live 5-hour draft coverage. It will be a moonshot.
I love it.
I
love it.
That'd be hilarious if it was just my dad in the background. Hey, Dad, come in here real quick. Hello, I'm Mr. Smitty.
The big reveal is Smitty's dad. I don't care if it was your dad. I mean, that would be great. But I love when he comes on. He don't come on enough, and I like hearing his view on some stuff.
Voss, if you're out there, call in. Denny, if you're out there, call in. Steven dropped off. He must have had another hailstorm.
Which one? There's two of them on here. The one from Mass, Stephen Mass, or Stephen Florida?
Steven, do you have another nickname?
Do I have another nickname? No. I mean, they call me Scuba Steve. If you want to call
There
me
you go.
Scuba Steve.
Scuba Steve. I like that.
Scuba Steve. Yep. Massachusetts. Or you could say Stephen from Boston.
Yeah, Scuba Steve.
Oh yeah, from Boston.
We're gonna Scuba Steve. Okay, I got you in here. I like that.
Hey, it actually works out perfect because I did watch Big Daddy, so I'm a big Adam Sandler fan. So
Okay. We got Trading Frank on the phone. Trading Frank, what can we do for you?
Hold up.
You're not ready.
Okay.
There you
So,
are.
no, I'm ready, baby.
Okay.
No, so 1.1. So, Bijan, now the draft's about to come up. So, I'm just asking your opinion on landing spots. Like, are we still going Bijan no matter where he goes, depending on, like, I could use a quarterback. So, would you take a quarterback, let's just say, if a quarterback just has a great landing spot, or is it just Bijan all day 1.1?
I mean, could landing spot ruin Bijan's value to the point where Jahmyr Gibbs goes to Philly or Buffalo or Cincinnati and they cut Mixon? Let's say, let's paint the best picture we can of Gibbs. Gibbs goes to the Bengals. Mixon gets cut, like right when they're announcing it. Mixon goes up and reads the card, and then he says, "I'm also cut," or whatever. And then Bijan goes to New England or Tennessee. I've got a big dilemma on my hands. And same thing with Charbonnet. If Charbonnet went to Cincinnati, Charbonnet went to the Eagles, whatever, and Bijan goes to the Seahawks, or the Jets or something. Like, I mean, of course we've got to reassess that. But as I've kind of mapped out of my video, it's hard for me to imagine Bijan not going to one of these locations that if they're going to pay the piper for him, they can use him. Tennessee may draft him, but part of me feels like if you're a smart organization, and I'm not saying they are, that's the problem, but you're going to say to yourself, running backs have a 4 to 5 year shelf life. Are we ready to win, or are we wasting this pick on a running back we can't support? So I don't think Tennessee would go get Bijan. That's just my gut, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be right on predicting it. Do I think New England needs him? No. They don't need him at all, so it would be ridiculously stupid for them to take him. But it was also dumb for a lot of other teams to do a lot of things that they did, like draft Rager over JJ. Even though JJ wasn't the consensus number 1 wide receiver, he was thought to potentially, have the ability to be. Think of JJ in his draft class was similar to like Addison. He was ranked like where people talked about him. He could be the one, but we're not sure. And so he fell in a certain range. Rager was nowhere near JJ's level. And so we don't know what teams are going to do. But I don't know, bro. We've got to address this after the fact. I know you're trying to play around with it just to get a sense, but at the end of the day, I'm not hesitating on Bijan over 2 potential long shot landing spots that don't concern me yet. Bijan's, he may go to the Bears, the Falcons, the Eagles at 10, and we're not even concerned about a bad landing spot, playing out at all. But, I mean, anything could unfold. And someone's parade's going to get rained on. There's going to be a hailstorm like Steven's dealing with right now on some running backs' value. Like Dameon Pierce could be either amazing and escape the NFL draft and be an awesome prospect for everybody next year, or he gets handed Bijan Robinson, or Atlanta, Tyler Algier gets handed Bijan Robinson. You know, Tampa Bay drafts Bijan Robinson, and then Rachaad White is non-existent. You know, those things are all possible. Bro.
Are you doing one big question? Are you doing like any kind of live stream during the actual draft or anything?
Am I
doing anything?
Hold on, I got something for you.
Thursday, April 27th, 2023. Join Smitty live, 7 p.m., 5-hour draft coverage. Be there!
There you go, pal.
You know it.
All right, hang tight
Okay.
real quick. Let's go back over to Scuba Steve. You can stay on the line if you want, Trading Frank. Scuba, what's up, Scuba?
I'm here.
Hey, Smitty. Do you watch the Pat McAfee show a lot?
I don't have time to watch a lot of anything, bro, because I'm doing my own shows, you know, half that time. But I mean, I've seen it. I see clips of it. I watch a little NFL Network when I can, just to consume as much as I can. But as far as like watching regular shows, I don't have time. I'm doing mine.
Well, because I brought that up because I was watching it today, and I don't know how good the sources are, but he has Adam Pac-Man, like he's like a regular on the show, and he was saying that he was hearing, I don't know who his sources are, but he was saying that he was hearing that DeAndre Hopkins could be getting traded this week, and he could be getting traded possibly this Thursday in the draft. I don't know if he's trying to talk to DeAndre Hopkins himself directly. Like, I don't know like what his connection is with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, that's pretty known.
But that's
that's
what
pretty.
they're saying. Oh, okay.
That's pretty known. He's getting the Cardinals are not wanting to waste away the final year of Hopkins when they can't really win. They won't give him away, but he's going to Buffalo, or he's going to. There's a couple of situations. New England's still in play, which would be awful for him, unless they got Lamar. But definitely feel like the Bears would still be good. I don't care if they got DJ Moore or not. Give Justin Fields Hopkins as well, but that's a little less likely now. The Baltimore Ravens, if that's still a possibility. The Giants is still in play. That would be a phenomenal place for Hopkins to go. I think the Buffalo Bills still feel like the front runner, if I had to guess. And just speculate where the New York Jets are not out of the question, but probably they can't afford it. But it's still going to get kicked around because money can be moved no matter what anybody says. But they're probably a lot less likely. Those are probably the most probable landing spots for him. But yeah, it would be shocking if Hopkins wasn't traded by the conclusion of the first round. It'd be more shocking.
I was just gonna say, do you think it'd be like a similar conversation as like when the Patriots got Randy Moss? Do you think it'd be like a deal like that where like people are talking about it, and then it's like that. I guess like you're surprised that he's going for like that pick, and then he ends up like just like balling out.
No, because we all kind of expect him to move on, and like you said, the Giants would be a great spot. The Bears would be phenomenal. Because he specializes in catching the football from a mobile quarterback. That's all he's ever done, and he's great at it.
Yeah.
So Chicago's the best spot. If I'm Chicago, I get it done. If I'm Buffalo, I get it done.
You think Chicago over Kansas City? Like if Kansas City decides that they want him, you think it'd be better for him if he went to Chicago over the Chiefs?
I like KC, but KC is known for not really deploying the way you think they're going to deploy. I think they would with Hopkins, but I think they're also very content with spreading it around, but it's not something I think would be crazy. If they did it, it would make sense. But I think ultimately Chicago would be phenomenal. Buffalo would be unreal. Josh Allen getting to throw to him. And then Mahomes to Hopkins would be probably third. You could argue second or third. But I don't know that it's just going to be magic from the jump like everybody thinks with KC, because they really like the way they're doing things right now. And we've seen them spend a first-round pick on Clyde Edwards-Helaire and literally not use him. We've seen them draft Sky Moore really high and literally not develop him. So I'm not saying that they would trade for Hopkins and they wouldn't use him. It would be crazy to. But we've seen them do kind of some strange things. But I think ultimately it's Buffalo, if I had to rank them. Buffalo, the Giants, or Chicago Giants in that order maybe, but Buffalo number one. The odds of him not going to one of those 3 or 4 locations are more crazy than the odds of him staying, I guess, is what I'm saying. But anything can happen. And the Cardinals, we don't know what the Cardinals' asking price is. Maybe they want a second and a third and a fourth, and they want they've verbalized they want the Christian McCaffrey package, which was a second, third, and a fourth. They won't get that. So if they're holding strong on that, and they're like, maybe they think they're gonna win. Maybe Gannon's like, you know what, we're gonna go 4-2. We're gonna go, 3-2, whatever, and then Kyler comes back, and then we go on a playoff run. I'm not saying that that's how I believe it will play out, but teams believe in their team more than we believe in their situation, sometimes. So who knows what happens? But yeah, I mean, that's no surprise. He's definitely going to be.
And just good. You're saying that if he does go to the Giants, where would you rank? Where would Daniel Jones be ranked? Because right now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people still consider him as like a QB2 or anything. So if he went over there and let's say the Giants did make that trade, how far up do you move him up?
I think you don't draft him as a starter, but he could be the Geno Smith of the 2023 season. Meaning, you're not drafting him as a starter, but somehow, some way, he's ranking in the 8 to 12 overall a lot of the time. I think Danny Dimes would probably surprise us quite a bit if he had Hopkins. But I don't think any of us are going to draft him to start, though. He'll be in a rotation, maybe. Maybe you draft Carr and Danny Dimes, and you go heavy at running back, wide receiver, tight end, and you deploy that strategy. People were starting Geno. People were starting Geno. They were starting Goff. But it takes a little while to accept it. You kind of tend to push back for a while, and you're like, this won't hold up. How is Geno going to continue to do this? But he kept doing it. Tua, same thing. Took a little while. A little less time because that offense looks so good. All right, hang tight, bro. I'm sorry, what? Scott, you got anything else?
Oh, no, I was just going to say. What is it?
Let's go to Scott real quick.
I'm here, Smitty.
What's up, Scott?
Well, I did what you recommended. I went and did some study time on the running backs.
Attaboy.
And Bijan is definitely number one. And I'm telling you right now, this is all depending on where they land. But Charbonnet, to me, is definitely the number 2. And then Gibbs. I don't think Gibbs is in the same class as the other 2. But those 2 are my number 1, number 2. And Caleb Walker's my number 3.
Yeah, Charbonnet is so unbelievable, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait. We've had the Charbonnet thing for some time because we're definitely people are getting on the Charbonnet train now. It's a little annoying. We've been pumping him out since last year because he was potentially going to come out of college, and then he ended up going back to school, but he was my number 2/3 ranked running back. He's right behind Walker and Hall. It was the same kind of thing. Bijan's the number 1, but in the right circumstances, Charbonnet over Bijan's certainly possible. That's how good Charbonnet is. And if situation is king, and it could also be a really horrible hindrance, there's a reason to believe the better player, Bijan, could get surpassed by the slightly lesser player in the most amazing situation known to man. That's the nature of fantasy football. Arian Foster was not the best running back in the league. He was very good, but his situation was elite. It was as elite as it gets. Priest Holmes was very, very good, and he became even better. Priest Holmes, once his career was at its peak, he could have gone anywhere and been Priest Holmes, but Priest Holmes was in the best situation a running back could have ever been in, and for that reason, situation has been proven in time to be sometimes overpowering when two players are kind of close, but one's way better, but the situation's better. So I don't know. Charbonnet, I just hope, bro, that he goes like this. These are the landing spots. And I'd even say like Atlanta's the one that I'd like cover up and say they're like the last one. They're on top. Let me put Atlanta down there so people don't think this is like the order. I'd say Atlanta's like the alternate. There's a little tier break. But these spots right here, Chicago, Philly, Cincinnati, Buffalo, if Charbonnet lands in one of those spots, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be so high on him, bro.
Yeah,
Somebody
Buffalo
earlier was
definitely
asking me about Roshan.
What about Roshan?
Definitely needs to get a running back.
I like Roshan. I see Roshan in Cincy. I see Roshan in a lot of different places. He's pretty good. I like him. Abanikandi, look, if he goes to a great spot, he could be definitely a sleeper. Like, he could be the Damian Pierce of this class for sure. I know Ron's liked him for a while too. Abanikandi could be Damian Pierce. He could definitely be. He could be a league winner in the 8, 9, 10 round territory. I don't think his draft capital will be clear as day. It'll probably be a little muddy, and so for that reason, Israel Abanikandi could go he could go somewhere where he's Damian Pierce. You get him in the 8th, 9th, 10th round, and we're like, get on board, Moon Man material. Like, he could be a Moon Man. If he goes to a crafty little hidden gem spot, he could be a Moon Man.
The key with him is he needs to get on a team like Philly that has that big offensive line that can create a hole, because once he hits the hole, he's gone. But he does have problems of getting stopped behind the line of scrimmage if he doesn't get the holes. He's a big back. He's 216 pounds.
Yeah, like
but
215
he's
to 20.
not that physical. He can run.
He reminds
like,
me
if
of.
he gets that step on somebody, he can hit the home run. But he's not. He's not a tackle avoider. His yards after contact aren't good.
He reminds me a little bit of Derrick Henry in that, like, he's Derrick Henry took not in terms of the physicality, but it took Derrick Henry like 3 or 4 years to learn how to get through the hole. Like, he couldn't. That's why my first video ever was, don't cut Derrick Henry. He could be the biggest rags to riches player in fantasy football. That was my first ever video. When
he has the body build.
became
he needs development.
Yeah. So he definitely needs to figure out how to increase speed or whatever, awareness. All right, I'm going to circle around the horn here.
Hey,
Scott,
Eddie.
Scott, final thoughts.
Yeah, my final thoughts. I know we were talking rookies, but Derek Carr is going to feed Chris Olave. Chris Olave is my number one this year.
Yeah, Chris Olave's top 1 to 5 wide receiver bound. And anybody that doesn't see it coming, I feel bad for him. I genuinely feel bad.
Derek Carr fed Adams. He's going to feed Chris Olave.
Olave's special, too. Like, I love Drake London.
I see him with 12 to 14 touchdowns and
Yeah.
1,600 yards this year.
I love Drake London. Drake London's phenomenal. He's a moon man. I mean, obviously, we love Drake London here. But Olave's different. Olave is Garrett Wilson capable. Drake London kind of is too, but his situation's holding him back a little bit. If he got Lamar Jackson, we'd talk about Drake London differently. But Drake London's in the 5th round, and he's a league winner from the 5th round. If Drake London climbed to 12 or 15 overall, we'd have to reassess whether he's valuable anymore. But he goes in round 5 or 6. So Drake London is winning leagues in round 5 or 6. Olave could climb into the lower 2nd round, and I'd still be all over it. If Olave was ranked number 18 overall, which he's not, he's a 3rd rounder. You can continue to steal him. If Olave climbed to 18 overall ADP, he could still more than double your return. He could smash it. Absolutely smash it. So Olave to the moon, 100%. Totally agree. All right, appreciate you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a lot of mock drafts to see where these running backs fall.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Thanks.
Later. Trading Frank, final thoughts.
All right, last one. 2 questions just real quick. So Will Levis, I've been hearing a lot of crazy ass shit that he's actually like going number 1 now. I don't know if you already talked about it. I'm sorry I came in late. Like, have you talked about that yet? Or how do you feel about that? Like, that's smoke, right?
Yeah, he's not going number 1, but there is an increased betting odds that he could go number 2 to the Texans, or he could be the second quarterback taken. There's rumors of that, but this whole going number 1 overall, stranger things have happened. Cam Newton was not the number 1 quarterback or number 1 overall player in the 11th hour. He rose up, so it's certainly, I guess, feasible, but not likely. I think number 2, he could, but I think it's a mistake. I think it's more about Stroud falling than it is about Levis climbing. But I would say that Anthony Richardson, if let's say you're uneasy about Stroud and the testing results and all that, you should go Anthony Richardson number 2. He's the number 2 in my opinion in that context. But if you believe in Stroud and you're not worried about you know, like Ron loves him, doesn't matter about the testing, and I can understand that, and it makes sense if you already didn't have questions. So, but I would go Anthony Richardson, but I would not put money on Levis going as a second overall pick, let alone the first. But he certainly could go number 2, I suppose. I think it's more likely that they take him 2 than they skip out on a quarterback, but we'll have to see.
And my bad, just one more. So I'm in a dynasty league. I got real lucky. This is like my 3rd year going into it. My first year, like my first like dynasty league. But so I ended up getting Fields, Tua, and Dak. Now I feel solid with them. Like I feel like it's a solid base, whatever. But sometimes I feel like I should maybe try to trade like for like maybe a higher QB. Do you think I should just stick with these guys, or do you think I should like really try to like move up, or like stick with like just where I'm at? Like, I don't know. I know it's probably like a weird question, but I don't know. Sometimes I see it and I feel like my quarterbacks are just kind of average.
Fields is average? No, bro. You
No, but he's like I got lucky with him. Like literally, like I traded him like 2 years ago, right when he came out of the rookie.
Well, who cares if you got lucky?
Like, one draft pick.
Yeah.
But like that he. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got a guy that some would argue is top 3, some would argue top 4. I mean, he's in my top 5. And then Tua, either I don't know if you can get Mike White, or I would definitely trade Tua if I could get into like a Jordan Love straight up, like in somebody's not high on Jordan
my
Love.
league hates him. I don't know why, but my league is it's because of the concussions.
Yeah,
like, I tried to get off of him, but everybody was just like, no, we don't want to touch him.
Can you get Mike White?
Everybody just kind of like, even Dak, no, like even. No one even wanted to touch Dak. I'm from Texas, and I'm talking about I got so pissed once we lost to the 49ers. And I have a Niners fan, and so he talks mad shit. And so honestly, I was just so pissed. I was like, I'm done with Dak. I want to unload him. But they wouldn't even take him. This is a super flex.
Well, try and get Mike White.
QBs are like a thing.
Yeah, try and get Mike White. But no, I mean, I wouldn't throw away other positions to try and upgrade that, because Tua, if you could get Mike White, Tua's a decent, per start situation, and Mike White would probably step in. But at the end of it, I'd probably let it go, let it ride. Tua's not a bad second quarterback. It's just a matter of backing him up if you can. But Fields, you're fine, bro. You're fine. I always listen to offers. Like, can you get? It doesn't sound like you can though, because you just said the QBs are hard to get. So I'm not going to dismantle anything when you have the opportunity of Tua to do well. So just go after Mike White. Shouldn't be too hard to get him, and you can bring those offers to us. But that'll secure you pretty good.
You believe in ETN?
I love ETN. Give me Sam Howell too. You can maybe trade cheap on Sam Howell. That's not a bad backup.
Okay. All
right, bro.
ETN, we believe in him, right? All right, my bad.
Yeah. ETN's he needs receptions though. Peterson's running back by committee. Tends to kind of gravitate toward that. So there's some worry for sure. And if ETN was given, if he was given 60, 70 receptions like he should be getting, he would be a top 5 overall player. But the fact that they're only running him is confusing. It's frustrating. We don't know that that's going to be the way it is, though. It might just be that was his rookie year. Like, he didn't play a single snap his rookie year. So that was like his rookie year. And sometimes pass protection, getting a running back, a rookie running back, and that was essentially his rookie year, on the same wavelength that you need to get him on, to pass protect and be in there on all downs. And we'll have to see how it plays out. But if he gets the receptions, even if he gets 55 receptions, he could be a top 5, top 7 running back lock. But there's some concern. Like if I could trade him out for Walker, I would. If I could trade him out for, Breece Hall, I would. If I could trade him out for Charbonnet, Gibbs, or Bijan, I probably would. But past that, I mean, he's right there, right after those guys. He's in my top 10, dynasty running backs. But he's definitely on the later end of it. I don't think he's in the top 6, but I like him a lot, bro.
All right, man. Sorry, man. I appreciate you, man. Sorry
all right, later,
all
pal.
these questions.
Scott,
Peace.
final 10 seconds, bro. Scotty, hello? All right, Scuba Steve.
Hey, man. Just wanted to ask you about. I don't know if you covered it because I came in like an hour late. Did you talk about Jahmyr Gibbs and the possibility of him going to the Miami Dolphins? Because they're interested in him, and I don't know. I don't think they have a first round pick or anything. So I mean, I don't know where you have him ranked, but like I don't know if he's somebody that can fall in the second round or anything like that.
Probably not.
And if maybe they I guess they grab him. I mean, I don't know like what type of like.
Yeah.
I guess like picks or whatever. I don't know the logistics of it of how they can work up to trade for him. But
I want a
don't know if you heard
Lamborghini.
that.
I want a Lamborghini doesn't mean I'm going to get it. They certainly could wish to get him, and they should, but they don't have a first-round pick, so the odds of him going at the tail end of round 1, especially with the reports out recently that teams view him higher than Bijan, like a handful of teams. So if we look at this this second round, like Ron Navy talked about, 51 overall, bro. So to answer the question, how in the hell are the Miami Dolphins going to get Jahmyr Gibbs, Charbonnet, Bijan, or anybody, even Sean Tucker? They got to move up. Could they move up? Certainly. Do I think this is probably more smoke than anything? Yeah, because why would they let anybody know, hey, we really like, and they probably do like Jahmyr Gibbs. Who wouldn't? But if your plan was to maybe go get him, like let's say it was a very strong possibility, I highly doubt you'd be like, okay, we're not drafting until 51, but let's let everybody know we want him. Like that's just smoke season, bro. So some beat writer said he'd be a good fit, and then maybe somebody asked somebody's cousins, uncles, brothers, Uber drivers, whatever, and he said, you like Jahmyr? Yeah, we like Jahmyr. Like I don't know. I'd have to see like a quote somewhere, but like, what are you gonna do at 51? How are you gonna go get Jahmyr Gibbs?
I think that was something. It was on Roto World. It was like what you talked about. It was I think it was like a beat writer or something because they brought him in for like a workout, and I think what it said on the thing is it said that it was like a beat writer was saying that they're interested in trying to trade up for him.
If they are, they're probably not telling a single soul that they are. So I'd say cap, but
okay.
I mean, could I see him there? Sure. Would he survive and excel there? Sure. But they did put some money into Wilson and bring in that Mostert Wilson combo back. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're better off getting a Dalvin Cook for a third rounder. That's what Miami should do.
Yeah.
That they should focus on because
I was just gonna say those guys are injury prone, so it wouldn't make sense if they did try to address that room because Jeff Wilson, I remember him and when he was on the 49ers, they gave him like Shanahan liked him, and all the chances that he had, he was out there for a little bit, put up the numbers, then he got hurt. And then the same thing where Mostert, like one of the fastest guys in the league, and he's out there for like you look at him and like he makes like all these plays and stuff, but then as soon as he gets hit, you're like it's almost like you're holding your breath, like especially if you trying to watch a guy, if that's the hit that's going to take him out of the game, and if it is, like how long is he going to be out?
Ethan says, I trust the law saying Hall's knee progress is great as much as I trust a politician. Safe Steve says you can lose a league in the draft. Ethan, and then Ethan also says, what if Hall had a cadaver ACL rather than a hamstring ACL? He probably didn't have either, bro. He probably had the patellar tendon ACL. The hamstring ACL is out of date. Look, Ethan, don't come in here and try and school me on ACLs and knee injuries and Brees Hall. Okay? The hamstring injury, that was like in the 1990s, bro. The hamstring surgery. I don't think he probably did. You have the patellar tendon now. It's a patellar tendon ACL surgery. And the cadaver used to be actually thought to be better, but they proven over time it wasn't as successful long term. But you had a quicker recovery because it was already a ligament. So when you do an ACL situation here, this is a better material to become an ACL than the hamstring. So what they do is they cut out a window in the middle, kind of like, think of it like a tongue piercing. When you pierce your tongue, there's a hole, right? When you take the piercing out, then the tongue kind of grows back and the hole closes, similar to like your ear as well. But with the patellar tendon, they cut a little window out, and then it just slowly kind of forms back and kind of connects again. So it's not like you have this big hole in your patellar tendon. However, you could say it could hurt or make your patellar tendon a little weaker. You could also say that if you cut out the tendonitis part of your patellar tendon, it actually could help heal your knee. There's a whole lot that goes into it, bro. So they take that piece of patellar tendon. It's a tendon. It's not a ligament. It's a tendon. Your hamstring, these are all things that need to die and turn into a ligament. So that's the whole thing. They take it you can see it in the back of the knee. They obviously remove the ACL and they drill a hole. They shove this piece of patellar tendon in there. They drill screws in there that have holes in the screws so the bone can grow into the screws. And basically it's like wedging it in there so that the ACL can then grow and become a tight piece of ligament. But it has to die from a tendon, turn into a ligament, and harden. And they've got it all under lock, bro. You don't have to worry about did he get the Walmart version of the surgery. So you coming in and you're just trying to throw a dart at the dartboard blindfolded on why Brees Hall's gonna fail. And not to mention, Ethan, you kind of come in a little negative. What is Ethan saying now? Wrestler teammate had the cadaver explode. That's the other thing too, is you're using somebody's old ACL. Like that's, first of all, it's gross. Second of all, it's like it's not proven to be better these days. All right. I appreciate you, Scuba Steve. We'll see you later, pal. We'll go live tonight.
Hey, Smitty.
All right, see you later, Smitty.
Yeah, Scott. Final thoughts.
Yeah, you know anything about? Well, I've got to have something done tomorrow, so keep me in your thoughts. But I love the show, man. I love the content. I've got to go to the hospital tomorrow and have something done, and I'm kind of worried about it. So
you okay, bro?
Just keep me in your thoughts, brother.
Yeah. You don't have to talk about it, but you can if you want.
I have to have a kidney biopsy.
Oh man,
I'm kind of worried about it.
Well,
it's kind of scary.
Let me see if I got my moonshot available. I don't. I gotta try and find it. To the moon. Where's my to the moon? I can give you a Smitty approved. My whole board's all jacked up right now.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Everybody, drop a prayer emoji for Scotty, and let's give him some good thoughts. But let us know how it goes if you wouldn't mind, bro.
I will, brother. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, Scotty, fine, bro.
Yeah, Scotty, come back tonight. We'll be we'll be live drafting and mock drafting, and then make sure you're while you're resting up, you're able to bring a charger, be all ready to go, so you can listen to the live draft coverage we'll have.
All right, brother. I'll see you. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Ron, do you want to say something real quick?
Stay positive, brother.
I will.
All right, bro. Prayer emojis for Scotty. All right, later, pal. Keep us posted. Ron, any final thoughts?
Yeah, we got day and a half, and all our questions are going to be answered. What do you think of Addison maybe going to Buffalo?
I don't know if he'll last that long. You never know. He could.
I think we're going to see some weird stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to probably see run on defense. And I really, honestly, I'm not going to be surprised to see if Bijan's the only first-round running back and the other ones go in the second round.
Yeah.
Meaning Gibbs and Sharp. I won't be surprised.
It could. I think Charbonnet falls.
Fantasy players.
Yeah, Charbonnet falls.
Charbonnet. We value it, but these teams don't value the players the same way we do.
Yeah, Charbonnet will probably fall more likely than Gibbs, but both of them could fall. I mean, look at Javonte. Javonte fell into the top of round 2. That's just typically where RBs kind of go. So, but Bijan's special. Bijan's different. Hopefully, Bijan doesn't take a tumble either, because the farther he falls, the more cloudy a situation could be for him. All right.
Please, no New England. No New England.
All right, Ron.
That's all I got.
I'll see you tonight, man.
All right, bye.
Later. All right, later, Scott. Appreciate you, pal. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you for talking rookies with me for how long we've been live. It's been 2 hours and 30 minutes. Long show. Enjoyable show, long show. Garrett dropped this. Check out other Super Smitty, also Olave in the second. Okay, hold on. Garrett. Garrett's dropping super chats like a madman today. Love 60 to 70% of your takes, Smitty. Just gonna super chat about those. I like getting your response to a different take than others. Makes a good convo. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate you. Garrett dropping a $5 holler just to tell me that. Russian Collusion, appreciate you. Garrett, thank you for all the super chats. He likes 60 to 70%. Still a good rate. Cody, appreciate you. Steven, appreciate you. Harry Crumbs, appreciate you. Trading Frank calling in one more time. Trading Frank, you got 10 seconds, bro.
Sorry. Are you doing still those drafts where you can do the signed Garrett jersey?
Yeah, they'll probably be after the draft, though, because they don't have any 1 QB drafts right now, and that's for the 1 QB contest. So hang tight. We'll be doing some sort of quarterback jersey.
About that.
Yeah, we'll be doing a quarterback jersey one tonight. It's a signed, probably Trevor Lawrence or something like that. All right, later, bro.
Oh, really? Tonight?
Yeah. All the Superflex ones are for a signed quarterback jersey. I just haven't got the jersey yet. It'll probably be a Trevor Lawrence or a Fields. It'll be autographed jersey. So we do those whenever they're Superflex private drafts. When they're 1 QB private drafts, that's for the Garrett Wilson jersey.
All right, sorry.
All right, later, pal. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate you. Go get Jameered. Where's my Jameer? This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, he looks better than Kamara looked coming out of college, more prepared to become Kamara. Schmitty, did you just say Gibbs was more prepared to become Kamara than Alvin Kamara was prepared to become Kamara?
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring touchdowns.
Big bad boy.
Thanks, Mike. I did say, I think I even said those exact words to Ron Navy. I said, Ron Navy, this is my best work I've ever done.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring touchdowns.
Literally the best work I've ever done in my life. Guys, if you want to draft tonight, here is the link
You want to use promo code Smitty, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. There's the link right now. It's always in the description of every video, but you want to sign up ahead of time early because you won't get in if you don't click it, sign up, and get all that out of the way. It's a $10 minimum to sign up anyway. They match up to $100 in your first deposit. Get some. See you all tonight. Appreciate you.